Hello, Glowbusters. Yes, of course they're serious. You do? You have? No kidding. Uh-huh. Oh, they'll cure your globitis this week. Thank you. We got one!
Ladies and gentlemen, it's the Glowbusters.
What are you supposed to be, some kind of a cosmonaut?
No, we're exterminators.
And now, here's your host.
And welcome everybody to Glowbusters, taking it to the next level. I'm your host, Bob, Xanadude60, and we are back with another great show for you today. It's been kind of an interesting week, and we're just getting all kinds of really good content and good things happen in the flat Earth community. And I, for one, am happy to see it. Much better than, calling everybody shills and trolls and stuff like that. That's not my cup of tea. But I like it when the community comes together and really supports one another. And, it keeps focused on what we're here to do. Because we are kind of we're one of probably hundreds, thousands, millions, I don't know, people that are spreading this message. But, obviously we all know that it is critical that what we're seeing reaches people about this and many other things that we talk about in the Truthers. And so when we can do that in the spirit of cooperation, it's just really nice to be able to work with other people that way. So it makes me happy. All right. So today we're going to be talking about a few different things. You guys may know that, I'm sure you know, last week we had Ken Wheeler on, who is Theoria Apophysis, and Jeran and David and I all talked to him. I was so nervous, I couldn't stand it. I was like, oh my God, I couldn't believe it. But I was really nervous, but it all came out okay. And then we had some audio problems, but they all came out okay. But that was all my fault in the first place. And, but anyway, everything worked out. And I was really, really quite pleased with the way the interview came out with Ken Wheeler. It was amazing because, I had been listening to him the night before and I didn't know what to think, because he seems like, part of him wants to make fun of it and part of him seems to know it's true. And then when we got on with him, it seemed like he was very much on board on almost everything that we were saying, which, needless to say, I fell out of my chair multiple times. I think all of us did, honestly. I can't speak for David and Jeran, but I know I was in disbelief, and it was a very, very pleasant surprise because I think Ken is somebody that is an ally that would be a really good ally because he does not think inside the box. The man is brilliant. He doesn't think inside the box, and a lot of his work applies directly to the flat Earth model that I've been working on anyway, Zack and I, and I'm hoping to bring more and more into the flat Earth community consciousness. And that's cool because everybody needs to do that. Because as I've said a million times, you cannot just, have one take on something. Things have to be explained in multiple different ways and maybe even multiple times. And then you just never know, and you're going to reach somebody with that aha moment. And so that's why you have people like Sean Hibbeler, which is out there making fabulous, seriously A-level motion pictures on this stuff. And, ODD and, all the people in our community that are fabulous, DITRH and all the work that he does. I'm really grateful to be a part of this community, and I just think it's a great thing. So there you have it. So, all right, let's go ahead and introduce the panel today, and we will get down to the show. So first up, as always, we have Jeran from Jeranism. How you doing today, Jeran?
Bob, I couldn't be doing any better, to be honest with you.
Well, that's
for what that's
good to hear.
Mm-hmm. Yep, very happy, very pleased.
Cool. And Maverick's doing good?
He's doing fantastic.
That's
Napping.
Cool. God, he is so cute. I cannot believe it.
Oh, thanks, I think.
Yeah, he's definitely a cute kid for sure. So awesome. All right. And let's move on over to Mr. Austin Whitsitt from Whitsitt Gets It. How you doing today, Austin?
Pretty good. Actually, driving up north a little bit, just chilling. How are you, my man?
Oh, not too shabby. Up north to more court appearances or just other business?
I gotta get the. We still have to get the RV registered. It has to be all the way up in Maryland. So we thought we were gonna be able to get it moved, but we are not.
Oh wow! You have to register it in Maryland?
Yeah, it has to like be there for, I guess, inspection or whatever.
Oh, okay. Wow, I didn't know that. That's very interesting. Of course, I've never owned an RV before, but I was hoping one of these days I might get one because it'd be really cool to take off and just kind of, go on the road for a few months or weeks or maybe even years. Who knows? I just think it would be awesome to get to see the country and maybe even beyond. Hopefully, if we can get all beyond all this crap that's going on here. But yeah, I think that'd be awesome. So I take it things have not changed much as far as your court appearances or anything like that. We're still kind of in limbo on those.
I just filed my notice of appeal, and so then I'll just be sending in the appeal, and the appellate will look at it, and then I have Dave hooked me up with a lawyer, his attorney that's flat earther, is gonna help me a little bit with the civil aspects. So it's really like
awesome.
Now I'm about to get real,
Yeah. Well, it can't hurt to have at least somebody that's got one foot on the inside, whether or not you're practicing the normal law or the free man's law. A little bit of each would help, obviously. But, it's amazing that there are literally two different legal systems to process things by. It just floors me. And one virtually nobody knows about. And then there's the other one, which we're all pretty much subject to and accept that that's the only way that it could ever be. And boy, are we finding out different. It's amazing.
Oh, but you don't even know about this part. Like, because, I kind of just tried to play their game and beat them at it. Because I thought it might be a really big opportunity for Flat Earth, et cetera. It is still maybe, I knew we wouldn't win the first point. But anyway, so what's crazy is that we okay, so anyway, we beat them at their game, but they just denied it. And Yellowstone's punishment to me was they banned me from Yellowstone for a year. They gave me the suggested penalty, like $100 fine. He gave me like $580 or something, and then said I was on unsupervised probation for a year.
Brother.
How insane is that, bro?
That's unbelievable. And you can't go to Yellowstone.
Yeah.
Oh,
and they had called me like a week after, like offering me just to take a fine, and then I fought it, and the dude ends up giving me probation for talking on a mic inside the RV for like 5 minutes about how masks are dumb.
Yeah. Well, they're going to do that. They have to come up with some sort of closure on it. Otherwise, if it's left open and you have any more opportunity to turn it around on them and, file some sort of tort lawsuit against them, then they're tits in a ringer and they could be in a lot of trouble. I think they realize that because what they did was blatantly unconstitutional. It was wrong. Point blank.
Yeah. That's definitely what we'll do. And yeah, I was just saying that because maybe lesson learned in a way. I thought I was going to beat them at their own game. And I think I did. Any attorney that's read it doesn't believe I wrote that by myself, but it doesn't matter. It's not like they play by the rules, so they're able to do whatever, and that dude was able to give me a year probation. It's kind of a perfect example of how you just kind of got to take the gloves off and lay down. It's a commerce, kangaroo court system, and you got to like call them out, or there's no accountability.
Yep. Well, let's hope it keeps going positively at least, and we come through this okay. Because what a pain in the butt that was. There were so many great moments during that year, literally, that you guys were on tour all over the place. Really, really good stuff out there, and some major tragedies too. So, I'll tell you. All right, so let's go ahead and move forward to Mr. Iru Landucci. How you doing today, Iru?
Hello, guys. Great, and very happy to every way I look, I see the community growing, and that is something awesome. And especially when somebody produce such a quality documentary and that kind of stuff is very, at least for me, is very pleasing.
Oh, good. So you actually did get an opportunity to see this latest one then?
The what?
You had an opportunity to see the next level?
No, this one, no.
Oh, okay.
I see the other ones, so it's something it's new and it's like a premiere for me, so it's very, very, very nice for a Sunday.
Yeah, well, it's really good. I mean, I like the first one, but I got to tell you, I like this one a lot better. It took it to a whole different level, so definitely
that is why
on the
it's called
upswing.
Next Level. Yeah.
Yep, for sure. All right, we also have with us today the producer and one of the stars of the Next Level documentary. Of course, you all know David Weiss, DITRH, and he is with us today. If I can find Martin Liedtke, he was going to join us, or at least maybe he'll join us. I don't know, but I haven't heard from him. I don't know what's going on with him, but we're going to try and get him in here too. But in the meantime, we have David and we have Sean. So David, how are you doing, sir?
I'm doing good, Bob. Thrilled to be part of this community. Blessed every day that I wake up and I'm not a zombie in a heliocentric matrix. And this world is the most interesting place ever, and I'm enjoying it. So here we are.
Yep, I totally agree. That's awesome. All right, and last but certainly not least, the producer the Next Level is Mr. Sean Hibbeler. Sean, I got to tell you, man, you do some great work. You've been in the community, well, every bit as long as I have, if not longer, probably longer, yep. I think. And, I've watched your documentaries from day one, and they are always absolutely amazing. They have that, big time feel to them and, to the point, and they're just amazing. So
thank you.
We're really glad that you got this. So welcome.
Yeah. Thanks for having me on, Bob. I appreciate it.
Oh, you're certainly welcome. All right. So I guess for those who have not seen it, either this or the first part, can you tell us a little bit about the two movies and where you're going with it and where they've come so far?
Yeah, like last year level, I just wanted to, like you said, do something bigger, where we've all shared flat earth videos with colleagues, friends, acquaintances, family members since day one. And I always look back and go, why aren't these working? People should be watching these ships over the horizon videos or these slideshow videos, and it should wake people up. It woke us up. It woke me up. So it's like, why won't it register with so many different types of people? And, I came to the conclusion that it was the huge influence that Hollywood had and motion pictures had over their minds, that it needs to be entertaining for them to even fathom sitting down and watching it. So, before I got into the flat earth and realized the truth of this world, I was doing sports hype videos for different teams, and I was working for a small company that would do NFL highlights. I would write the scripts. I would do all the highlight reels, and I tried to make them as entertaining as possible, and people liked my style. So once I found out about the true nature of our world, I just couldn't keep doing the sports stuff anymore. I had no passion. I had no enthusiasm to wake up and continue going. And I just decided to stop taking that paycheck from that company. And I said, you know what, let me start doing stuff on YouTube and seeing if people like
Yeah. Okay. So did you learn pretty much everything that you've done from doing this stuff on YouTube, or did you actually take any formal training in movie production or anything like that?
No, I taught myself everything. I mean, I was producing music in Chicago for 10 plus years, a long time ago. And then I started kind of tinkering with videos and people.
Very good. Okay. Well, because I always wonder how people come to, where they are, how they manage to get into this stuff. And,
Yep.
it's amazing. I think the people that are best at it just kind of seem to fall into it. They just follow their heart, and they think, this is what I really want to do. And when you follow your heart, you can hardly go wrong, honestly. And
Well, this was my calling, Bob. I mean, this was
absolutely.
the creator, got to me at the right time in my mind and helped me through this, because it was like, do I have to financially struggle the rest of my life while I'm trying to get the truth out there? How can I make a living? How can I pay any bills? And it's like the universe has led me to this point where it's like, spend half the year editing, producing, flying, making a film, and then you will be rewarded. And so hard work pays off. But I'm the type of person that goes, you know what, no matter how much work and effort and money I put into this project, it still needs to be free, because that's the most important thing, is the message and the truth should be shared. The truth, but I made it in a way where, it's like, hey, if you want to watch.
Yeah. Well,
Are you guys listening to Sean's audio?
a little bit right at the end of his speeches.
Yes, John, you're cutting out a little bit.
Oh, okay. Is that better?
Yeah, just something happens at the end of what you're saying. Let me just add my 2 cents in there.
Yeah, of course.
We want this out for free, but Sean needs some support. You can rent it for $5 or buy it for $7. I don't know why anyone would rent it. Just get it, and that's your way of supporting them. If enough people, just a small handful of people, bought it and had it, then you have it in your arsenal. You could show it to people. You don't have to be online to watch it. And then next year he wouldn't need to do a GoFundMe again to do an even better one, because you have to be better every year, or else you always have to get better. The bar just gets higher and higher. So this is it's free on April 5th.
May 5th.
Sorry,
yep.
May 5th. The standard resolution will be on YouTube. But anybody that hasn't seen it yet, download the high def one. It's really nice in high def. Download it, watch, have family night, save it. Like you're somewhere with people are over, just play it in the living room, take everybody's keys so they can't leave. And, I love the movie, not because I'm in it. That's like I was so worried. I'm like, oh my God, this movie better be good because I'm in it. But I've been having great luck with people that watch it and they look over at me when they're done. They're like, I'm in 100%. And then there's also people that will watch it that have no idea flat Earth is even a possible thing, won't see anything. And those are the people that can't see when shown. There's, people can see when shown, and people that just can't see. You will have that with no matter what you show some people, but you're at least putting it out there. So anybody that hasn't gotten it yet,
anybody wants to support, you just go to thenextlevel2022.com, and there's different options if you want to support. If you're already a subscriber of mine on Rockfin, it's already included. If you're not subscribed to my Rockfin, subscribe now. I have other things on, let's just call it, I don't know, are we on Rockfin or YouTube, Bob?
We're on Rockfin, YouTube, and DLive.
Oh, okay. So I'll just watch what I say then. But there's other films I've made on my Rockfin about the current situation that we're in the world that needs to be viewed as well. So, or Vimeo, or you could just download it right to your phone or your hard drive. I have download links there. So any support, like Dave said, would be great, because I don't want to have to do a GoFundMe for next year's film. I'd rather have raise the funds from the rentals now to put it back into the project. But I'm not I can't see the future. So.
Quick story for anybody, an idea. So I have a buddy who's a fireman who's been doing some creative things. He downloaded it to his phone, and now whenever he's either at the firehouse or even at home and his kid's in his room, he mirrors it to the television without even telling anybody from his phone. Boom! It just shows up and starts playing, and people are watching it, and it's effective.
Yeah, and,
So-
and by the way, real quick, anyone that's like, oh, I don't want to download the high def version because there's a couple swear words here and there in it. Right now on the website, there are links for the clean version in high def, so you can still support the project and have a family version. It's ready to go right now. If you go to the website, you'll see the Vimeo stream in a rated PG, no swearing, and no content either. I think there's a part of there where Tanner was talking about the child sex trafficking, something like that, and I even blocked that out. Yeah, I looked at it as like, hey, if you want to show your 5-year-old this, if I had a 5-year-old, what would I not want that 5-year-old to see or hear? So I made sure it was extra clean, so the whole family can enjoy.
Excellent. And that's exactly what we need to do, because let's face it, this, Flat Earth is going to become a family thing. Because otherwise, if you only have half the family that are into it, or that it appeals to, or that they're trying to share it with the rest of their family, and the rest of their family are kind of, prefer the wholesome message, then, it's just better to do it this way. And honestly, you don't really get much from throwing in the cuss words, or, talking about things that are really horrible, like, some of the things that go on in the world today. But
Sure.
yeah, that's a good thing that you do that, honestly. And if we do wind up kind of wandering into the territory of other things that we want to talk about, I can cut the YouTube feed a little bit later on, because the Rockfin feed is on free right now. So you can go to Rockfin and talk and participate from that. And it is free for everybody today. Just in case we want to talk about anything else, because boy, I'll tell you, YouTube is getting a little crazy. And then of course there's the whole other Rockfin issue. Maybe we'll talk about that a little bit later on today.
Yeah, just let me know when you're off of YouTube, then we can get into big boy talk if that's going to happen.
Let me just throw in one more thing about the clean version versus the unclean version. I understand that there are people that get offended at that, and if you're showing little kids, sure, that you might want to eliminate that. But personally, I love the dirty version. Maybe that's just me. So there's people on both sides, and that's all right. Like, I get offended when people are offended when you use a dirty word, but they're not offended about all the crap that's going on in the world. They get upset over words, but they ignore what's going on in this world. That offends me. So Sean has made it where we have both options. He's made a professional movie. I am honored to be in it. I can't believe that I'm in it. And I'm using it. I'm sharing it around, and it's causing quite a stir in my town.
You did a great job, Dave. I mean, sifting through your editing, your stuff was, I mean, I could have probably, if I had the time, I would have probably made this film at least 2 hours. I just didn't have the time. I don't have a supercomputer. My brain is way too fast for my computer. So a lot of time it's just sitting there waiting. I'm like, I need to keep going to the next section, and I have to wait. So it's kind of like, I always tell the story of, imagine if you're a book writer, you're writing a book, but every chapter your pencil breaks. And then you only have one pencil. You have to walk to the store and come back. It's like you forget a lot of things. You're sitting there waiting. Like, I just want to flow. So again, I hope this film does good in terms of the rentals, because I would like to get another computer and another camcorder. I want to shoot it in 4K next year. So, but these things just don't fall on my doorstep, unfortunately. So hopefully, with the support of the community, it'll be a no-brainer. I mean, that's all I want to do is take that money and put it right back into the third one and start a little earlier this time around. So,
yep. Very good. And I was reading some of the comments on the new movie and even the old one, and there are some people that are never going to be happy about anything that you do, right? I mean, you can do a million good things, and if you do something that is in the least bit out of alignment with what some people believe, they're all over you. Like, you've done some horrific sin or something, and it's okay. Really amazing. But on the other hand, there's also some people that have some decent points, and I kind of wanted to share some of those with you that from what I was reading.
I love constructive criticism.
Absolutely, and definitely in the view of providing constructive criticism. And some of those things that I heard, for example, were people saying, well, it's a great film and everything, but how many times can we say, water is level, water finds its own level, yada, yada, yada.
Sure.
the curvature amount, and I get that, right? I truly do. And, in this show, I'm trying to go beyond that by, providing a model, by providing, relationships to what's happening on our real Earth, our flat Earth, as compared to what the mainstream tells us, I guess, to find correlations and stuff like that. So I guess what I'm saying is that people are kind of saying, as good as it is, it seems to be missing that cutting edge. It needs to have something a lot more, powerful or something new to introduce. And as I realize that's difficult to do because, we do this show every week and I'm always looking for new angles and stuff. But
Bob,
let
me throw in 2 cents here.
Okay.
Sean and I actually talked about this. We talked about this over the last year. And one thing Sean said to me, which I said to people, everyone that's listening to this movie isn't made for you. It's made for you to enjoy, but it's not made for you. It's made for the people that haven't heard water lays flat a million times. It's made for the people that are brand new to this topic to get them to start looking into it. So I think it was skillfully done for the new user. Myself, I enjoyed the crap out of it because I just love entertaining, well put together information. But it wasn't made for every single one of us listening. We already know water lays flat, but it was put together in a beautiful way. So I'll stop there.
I'll add to that quickly. It, like I said about even last year's film, I mean, it's the flat earther can enjoy it, but it's not about just enjoying it. It's about finally having something like these last 2 docs I made, having something that you can feel comfortable and have a little pride in now, where you sit down with your neighbor, your cousin, your friend, whoever that thinks you're ridiculous for these claims, that won't sit through a normal slideshow type of video on YouTube, or won't sit through something a little less professional looking. That's just the way they're wired, right? So this is more for, hey, I finally have something now that I can show my family, friends, acquaintances, or whoever was talking shit at work. Doesn't matter. Say, hey, check this out now, because now this is especially more specifically for the people that are waking up to the current hoax that we're all living through. Mm-hmm. Those are the people specifically, because I watch Dave all the time go on shows, and I feel like the ones that he target, maybe unintentionally, but the one he targets the most are the ones that are waking up to all the other deceptions, but not this one yet. So it's like, this is that type of film for those types of people. There's millions of people waking up to the current hoax of our world. Their brain is ready.
Yeah, they really are. And, there's so many things going on in the world right now. It almost seems like with all the crazy crap that you read in the news and all the things that they come out with, it's like, are they really trying to overwhelm people with utter BS? I mean, it's like, it's unbelievable, really, what comes out in the news. And you look at it and it's like, how could anybody take any of this seriously? And I wonder if they do that just to overwhelm people in general and keep them away from things that are generally newsworthy, right? Or actually newsworthy. Like the Earth being flat and, all the other things that are going on. But yeah, I mean, the strategy, our opponents they're brilliant, honestly. They're evil as hell, but they're also very, very smart. They have some of the best minds money can buy, and they understand groupthink. They understand the psychology of humanity. And it is amazing. They always seem to be like, sometimes they're one step ahead of us, and sometimes, they're not very far behind, but they do seem to be watching us and, keeping an eye on what we're doing and what we bring up, and then they adjust accordingly. And of course, we've had lots of examples of that happening through, Jeran's work, everybody's work, honestly. So that's pretty cool. So, okay. So on the first one, and God, it's been a while since we watched the first one, a couple months ago. What were some of the major changes that took place from the first next level to this one?
In terms of what, like my preparation or my production?
Well, as far as like the storyline, because I'm sure everybody hasn't seen it.
Sure. Well, yeah, the original level, originally when I came up with the idea, I was talking to Matt, ODD TV. And at that time, my laptop took a crap on me, and he sent me over this computer that already had some decent, RAM and CPU that he's like, it's just sitting here. So let me mail it to you. I mean, it was a blessing in disguise. He mailed it over. It was about double, triple the speed of my laptop that just broke. So I was like, okay, maybe I have enough speed now to make something here a little bit better with more graphics, a higher resolution. I couldn't do it before. And once I got that going, I started just writing a script, when you first watch Level, you hear, so there it is, the Earth from outer space. Do you believe this is a real live recording? I'm sitting there writing all this. So I'm writing the script. And as I'm, trying to come up with visuals, and I'm like, oh, how am I supposed to get this out there? What am I supposed to do? I called Matt. I said, do you want to be in this? I said, and at that time, with the way the world was and flying and everything, I'm like, I'm not even going to deal with that. I said, just put something together with your camcorder and send it in, and I'll see what I have. So he did that real early and kind of inspired the rest. So that's when I started contacting Santos, Tanner, everyone. I just started emailing them, hey,
Oops, you dropped out.
out here, use my camcorder, and then we'll take the footage home. Santos was in Mexico at the time.
Whoops, you're dropping out again, Sean.
Sean, we lost you.
Oh, you lost me?
You're
Not
back.
here?
Yeah, now you're back.
Just back.
Okay. I don't know why.
Yeah, it's weird because you'll be talking away and then it'll just kind of fade out and fade to nothing. It's weird.
Okay. Well, let me just quickly finish. I don't know why that's happening, but so then I just kept writing the script and
on again.
Yeah, very strange.
Yeah, I wonder if maybe Sean, you should drop out and rejoin possibly.
Try that. We have Martin Leakey has jumped in. If you want to say hello to Martin. Martin, you don't need to be on camera if you have a low bandwidth issue.
I'm not surprised where I am. Can you hear me?
There you go.
Yep.
Good, Bob.
Can you hear me?
We hear you, Martin. Awesome. Hopefully Sean will get that little audio problem fixed up. So
am I better?
Yeah, we hear you good now.
Nowhere. Double flat thumbs.
Okay, so I'll get to you in just a second, Martin. Let me see if we can get Sean to finish his point.
Yeah, I'll do it real quick.
No problem. Take your time.
Real quick. Yeah, so I was writing the script, and then I contacted Eric at the time and said, would you mind narrating this for me, since you have such a recognizable flat earth voice in a sense? And of course he said, yeah, and he'd be honored. And he did the narration for me. I just laid it all over. I got all the footage from everybody else last year. And I said, great, let's put it out. I think I rushed that one. I didn't have a lot of time. I had the estimate date of April 22nd back then. And I'm like, crap. I literally finished that film the same day that it came out. And I didn't sleep the last 3 days. So I said, I'm not going to do that for this one. But guess what, guys? I finished this one maybe 2 days before release. So it's, with this one, I said, I need to come see everybody if I can. And going to see Martin and Santos at the time, I'm like, oh crap, I don't have a passport. And it was way too late. It was like 120-day turnaround or some crap. And I was like, I can't even go. So I had to pay a videographer for Martin, which did a great job. And then Santos, I paid a videographer for as well. They both did phenomenal jobs, probably better jobs than I would have done if I was there. But for next year, I definitely want to make sure I go see everyone in person, whoever is going to be involved.
Oh, that'll be awesome. Well,
Yeah, so I was flying.
Yep.
You were what?
Cut out again, Sean.
Okay, don't hear you, Sean. Oh boy. I gotta hate it when that happens. I honestly wonder if YouTube just does that to screw with us. I really do.
Very conspiratorial of you, Bob.
Yeah, very much so. But who knows? Because it's not. I have a ridiculously fast line, and
yeah, so it's weird.
Yeah.
Can't rule it out.
Yeah, it makes you wonder, doesn't it? Okay, well let's move on over to Martin really quick and talk to him. Whoops. Say again, Sean?
I was just saying flat thumbs. What's up, Martin? Unmute, brother. Where's he at? Oh, it says Martin left.
Oh boy, he dropped out. There he's
now
back.
He's back.
Hey.
Hey, Martin.
Flat thumbs.
Hey guys, much love to you all. Double flat thumbs.
Awesome. And you, yeah, again,
Good job.
you don't have to use video if you don't want to, because we're not broadcasting the video side of it, Martin. So just FYI, in case you have any bandwidth issues also. Let's hope
I
not.
have.
Okay.
Yeah, I have some bandwidth. I'm not actually at home. I'm actually in a Starfort city in the middle of Central Europe on an archaeological dig, getting the juice of juice.
Oh, nice.
Archaeological dig? When did you start doing that?
In the center. I'm not going to tell everybody where I am, but I'm in the center of Europe. A very, very cool place in like Tartaria, basically. Some of the evidence I got cannot be denied. If anyone thinks that like they think they're debunking Tartarian mud floods, it's just going to have a rude awakening.
Awesome.
Can't wait to see it.
Boots on the ground, guys. Boots on the ground. We get pictures off the internet. It's not doing it. But when you get here and you see it for yourself, the antiquitech where I am is still active, guys.
Okay? You're kidding. It's active?
No, I'm not shitting you. It's going to blow your mind when I show you.
Oh my God. I can hardly wait to see that.
Oh, it's just mind-blowing. They got entire conduits from the entire city, same pattern as where the original Starfort was. So basically, it's like stainless steel made in like maybe the communist era or something. It's basically on the exact footprint of the Starfort, so it's reactivating the Starfort shape, and it's carrying current. And I'm sure the town that I'm at, the city that I'm actually in, still utilises the energy charging its people. I really do think the antiquitech is still active here.
Wow.
Wow, indeed.
That is amazing. You know, because I've only seen that one piece of antiquitech that it looks like it's in some sort of a steeple, and it has like this 6-pointed star that all of a sudden you can see this corona discharge off of it, and it raises up and it raises them up in the air. It's like the device just went active, right? And I looked at that and went, that's incredible. You know, and of course, if you have devices like that all over the city or all over the countryside, you know, you should easily be able to produce enough energy to power a city. You know, the reason
where I am is not been changed by the modern day. So I'm in the center, like it's an ancient city, and all the antiquitech is still intact because basically this was previously an occupied country by the way. And all of the antiquitech has been left in place. All of the images we ever seen of wrought iron, basically resonators, the best resonators I've ever seen in my life. If anyone wants to say that these are lightning conductors, not with 4 wires coming off, going in different directions straight, it's just never seen anything like it. It just blows your head off, literally overwhelmed by the evidence. I went into this building site where I've been looking over yesterday, and they dug up all of the footings. And when I went into the building and looked below the footings, literally, it just opened up and there was an arch for a door under the building. Just like, wow. So how can they explain this away out into the streets from where it was previously on ground level? Yeah? So, and the mud flood evidence is actually profound. Yeah? See where it came in, where they dug it out, the trees, all of the same age. It's just the evidence is profound. Yeah. So yeah, it was a really good decision to come and find this stuff.
That is incredible. You know what surprises me, and honestly, you know, I follow your work on that. I've been looking at the mud flood stuff in Tartaria, and I'm actually surprised, you know, that so many people in the community think that all of that is, you know, either not a big deal or some sort of a scam that's here to mislead us. And it's like,
no.
How can you say that?
How is it not a big deal? Look, if free energy is released to the public, okay, by, say, an anonymous source where they can't turn the clock back, what will happen to society if everyone suddenly has free and electricity? What will happen to the paradigm?
Yeah.
It's going to change all.
It would change everything.
Change all. Yeah. So that's what the thing is.
Yeah, but you know, the thing is also, though, Martin, there have been so many so-called free energy inventions, you know, that have come out and been shot down. I've lost count. Of course, I think the most famous one in my mind is the Joseph Newman energy machine, if you're familiar with that. And
Yeah, perpetually.
that is absolutely astounding. The story behind the Joseph Newman energy machine, he had electrical engineers from all the television stations, university professors, members of Congress going to bat for him, trying to get him a patent on this information. And this went on for years and years and years and years. And it's like, and they just said, nope, we're not going to do it. It came down to a personal choice of the, head of the patent office. It's like, what is up with that? Since, a personal choice,
You take it to the
unbelievable.
patents, that's where it falls through, Bob.
Yeah.
That's where it falls through.
Yeah. Give him as the fall guy or whatever, but
yeah, you got it. Yeah.
yeah. So, I mean, and I don't know what to think of it. Obviously there are some really strange, things going out there. One of the things a lot of people are out there claiming that mountains and all kinds of stuff like that are like melted bricks, some weird stuff like that. And it's like, I don't know what to think about that. But honestly, the stuff you're working on, I think is incredible.
There's a difference between just throwing it out there and actually gathering hard evidence, I find. Okay. If they want to like get on a plane and actually go to Tatari and actually look at this evidence for themselves, they will see battery going. They will see that it's undeniable. Okay. There's been a video made recently by one of their lots, literally trying to debunk it with absolute bullshit. And if you was when I release these videos, when I actually get back, it's going to be undeniable. I can't see how anyone can say what else is going on, because there's no other. To me, we were discussing earlier what is the mud. I've just come to the conclusion that we're looking at like Noah's flood, and not that long ago, guys. It would have left a sedimentary deposit, and it would have ruined a lot of cities, not all. A lot of the architecture would have been smashed, and they would have rebuilt it. And I think this is what we're looking at, what they call Noah's flood. And as little as pre-Renaissance, maybe 1400s, what they call. And then it was Armageddon. They closed the calendar for maybe 200-300 years, who even knows how long. And then they set up a new paradigm, fake paradigm. We're bringing in the globe and this really weird Phoenician paradigm that we're all living in. The Baal paradigm, and everything's geared against negativity, fear. We weren't always like this, guys. Okay, this was a spiritual place. We were beings of light, and they split off. We split off. There's a separate group that split off from us, and they became the elites. And they basically envy us still, what we have, our spiritual morality, humility, is what they haven't got. And we've been envied all of this time. So we are on the winning side. We will be on the right side of history also, guys. And this is the time. This is the time when all of the truths will be unveiled and everything be clear to everyone. Okay? There's some stuff we're never going to know because this is a divine happening. Okay? This is supernatural, if you like, but the truth will be shown if people are ready or not. There's some people here who were real people, and the rest of the people have just completely sold into the paradigm, got jabbed, everything else. There's no going back for them, I'm afraid. But there's still a load of people who remember where we came from, who we are, and our power to manifest. This is our realm. And they hijacked it from us, and they manifest this evil paradigm, which we do it for them. If anyone says, well, who are they? Who's them? I think it's us, because if we have the power and they use us through, evil internet, television, and all of these bad, internet is the worst of it, but all of these bad thought patterns, negativity, then people are going to manifest it into the realm. They know this, and this is the power they have over us. When we realize that, we cut them with a big pair of scissors and get them away from us, then it's our realm. And then when we manifest, it's for us, and it's for good, and it's for, forward for the what's left of humanity, guys.
It's funny because this is the time allegedly of revelation, right? That all of these truths about our Earth are supposed to be shown, right? This is what's going on, and without a doubt, a lot of crazy things are being shown. That our history is different, that our world is flat, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. But the flat Earth to me still seems like it's the ultimate secret that the elites never really want to get out, right? And I just wonder if they're not going to, pretty much say, yeah, Tartaria was real, civilization had a different timeline, things like that they will kind of allow. But what will amaze me is if they ever come clean on the flat Earth or even the Apollo missions, anything like that.
But I've been thinking about this a lot myself as well, Bob. My role in what I do, it's talking about Tartaria. I'm thinking, well, this is known to so many people. It's massive in Russia. So I don't actually worry, but I'm just saying it's like, uh-oh, what have I done? Sometimes I think, but yeah, they are definitely grabbing hold of it. There was a video released today about orphan trains and the whole narrative behind it on TikTok. That first come out of my head like 4 years ago almost, and TikTok are now grabbing it like it's their narrative. So they're trying to grab the narrative of Tartaria and Red Flood, like they did with Flat Earth, I guess. And yes, I don't think they want the Flat Earth awakening now, but they got no choice. Okay, we're not going to let go. Any of us going to let go? Because I'm not.
Yeah, no, I think
I'm not going to give them a goddamn inch, Bob. I'm not going to give them an inch, mate. They're going to have to come clean, and that's the end of it. It's getting worse by the day. You see some of the photographs I took today and a planetary astronomy all on the side about Phobos and Mars, and I was taking photographs, and it's just like the most insane programming. Yeah, they had like an orientation for like north, south, east, and west on Saturn and Jupiter from basically apparently observations in 1900 around that mark, 1903 actually. But it didn't actually have an east. It said north, south, west, and 0 for east on all of these pictures. And I'm wondering what the designation of the 0 was and why they haven't got an east on there. I thought that might be a clue. I took the pictures. So it's been a really learned day for it a lot.
Yeah, we obviously have much to figure out on that, obviously.
Much to figure out.
So Sean,
the more I know, the more I don't know I'm finding.
Oh God, isn't that the truth? And I've been saying that ever since I started this. It's like,
have you?
The more I learn, the more I realize I didn't know jack crap about anything. And yeah. So Sean, I'm sure you know a little bit about Martin's work on that. Would you ever consider, or have you had any plans to maybe kind of go down a road like that and give that some documentation?
Yeah, I have. I thought about this during the making of the next level. I said, maybe I should go see Martin and go see John and Autodidactic, anyone that's recommended, and get this story out there in a professional documentary sense. So it is a goal of mine. I again, just depending on how well this film does, as far as cost recoup, but I would love to, but you know what, maybe I just won't rush it. Maybe we'll release it when it's done. That's my probably issue, is I always have these release dates and then I put so much pressure on myself to hurry up. But yes, if Martin is available, I would love to come to Europe and sit down with you and get the whole 9 yards, the whole story, and do the same with John and anyone else, to really have a professional.
Sean, it will do a lot better than, the film will do fantastic. That it's the best Flat Earth film I've seen to date. With Tartaria and Mudflood, etc., a lot of glowbeds look at it. I've got like maybe, I don't know how many % on my channel subscribed that don't believe in Flat Earth at all. And they're just looking at the history. So the Tartarian, I'm not saying mainstream, but I'm saying a lot of people look at that subject outside. The mainstream guys, a lot of people see Flat Earth in the title, they run a mile. That's what I found with my Flat Earth British. It's made me very unpopular.
Yeah, I bet. Well, you know what? The truth of Tartaria and everything that comes with it is super important. So whether they're a globe head watching it or a flat earther, it would make no difference, because eventually they're going to lead their road's going to lead them to the flat earth anyways.
Sure. That's what I'm hoping. Yeah. I do these Mudflood videos, and every single video I will always put in some Flat Earth proof, just to knowing that they're going to be watching. And to me, I just took it, from the obvious that, this is ridiculous. I can't believe anybody's going with it in a very matter-of-fact way, because that's how I think of it. After 7 years of, just fuckery, guys, they brought nothing to the table. Everything they got is they're just repeaters. Yeah. And we got this down, guys. We've got this down. You all know this, especially on Globebusters. You guys just smash it. So they just got nothing. They got nothing, and they never will have anything. So we're always going to have the edge, guys. We're always going to be one step ahead of them.
Well, the truth will win. I always say,
win.
Doesn't matter how long it takes. The truth is going to win. We're going to live through this. So we just need to be there for one another.
Sure. That's all we have got.
Absolutely. Well, that would be really cool. Of course, you're going to get some people that are going to kind of come in and say, oh, you guys are polluting the flat earth truth with this, that, and the other thing. But to me, it's like, how do people say that? It's like, this is a journey, and we're finding out so many things all at the same time. And to think that they're not all related in one form or another is absurd. Right?
Well, it makes no sense. Look, didn't all this happen on the flat earth?
I'm sorry?
All of this cataclysms happen on the flat earth. They are a closely connected subject, guys. In fact, you can't really have these cataclysms without having the flat earth. None of it would work. Let me give you an example. So say a lot of people think they're living on a globe. Well, Noah's flood. So the waters completely cover the surface of a ball. So where did it all recede to? Did it all melt out into space? Did it all sink into the ball? Where did all the water go to? It makes no sense whatsoever, guys. Flat plane makes completely sense because there's more out there. We've got an ice wall. What's the ice wall made of, guys?
Ice?
Frozen water.
Water, yeah, definitely.
Yeah.
But
sure.
But yeah, and I get that. And then there was the flood, and I Mark Sargent, I think he had it nailed pretty much from the beginning when he said,
yes,
this is kind of a Truman type enclosure. This is a construct. What we're living is a construct, and I'm not exactly sure what we can qualify as what's nature, right? Well, what is nature when you're living inside something that was engineered for you? Does that mean that if you go out and make a terrarium and have lots of plants and maybe little critters and stuff running around in it, does that make you God? Or, I mean, I don't know, but there's obviously a very deep connection in this, in our history, and the fact that it is a flat earth, and the fact that it is a mechanized world. And, there could be something like a smelting plant, way down below. It's hard to say. So
I was thinking about the sun and the moon today, and, there's some, they used to say there was a man in the moon and you used to be able to see a face on it as well. And the light has changed. And, in the Truman Show, Ed Harris is like the purveyor, isn't he, of the whole thing. And where does he look at the world? Through a window. Moon.
Yeah, really.
Doesn't he? Yeah. So I was just wondering. We don't know anything about our environment, not really. It's just, there's definitely no curvature. It's impossible for space to exist. We all know that. Planets I don't even recognize. The rest, like the science and everything else, I can't even be bothered thinking about. Makes zero sense. Quantum mechanics, everything is the indivisible. So you can't see it, yet they tell you it's there. Like the and
absolutely
quantum
true.
Mechanics. Yeah.
So getting back to our other subject, Sean, on part 3, obviously, part 2 came a long way. I think you did a really great job on it. You took the advice of a lot of people. I'm really glad that you kind of backed Santos off a little bit. I mean, the guy is very passionate and he does not like the mainstream. He does not like these people. And that was really apparent during the first part, and
yeah, that's my fault too, though. I mean, I had an aggressive state of mind during the first one. I was pissed. I mean, up to that point, I made all my YouTube documentaries in the flat earth, and it's like people still weren't getting it. So I was just in that mindset of F off, just F you. If you don't get this, F off. And that was my mistake. That was my mindset. And that was the vision I had at the moment. And did it help some people? I'm sure it did. Maybe some people needed that kick in the face to get it. But this time around, I said, you know what, let me have a different approach. and I'm going to take this a lot more seriously this time around. And the next one, who knows? It's just the vision I have at the time while producing it. Hopefully, I'm in a good.
Yeah, absolutely. And there are a few other things like I'm sure all of us have our little nitpicky items. Like there was one thing that kind of bothered me, and I don't know why it did, but well, I do know why it did. It's when who was it, Flat Earth Millionaire, was saying something about well, we've taken the measurements of buildings and the tilt in between them from the bottoms to the top.
Yeah.
And I'm not aware of that actually happening unless he's talking about what they were talking about doing in the convex movie. So is that something that was actually verified, or?
Well, I think what he was trying to reference is like just simple laser tests from the base of buildings to the base, to the top to the top. It's more of a overall analysis of the layman's terms of thinking about two buildings that are 100 miles apart. They're not tilting back, and they should be. If they're going down curvature, that curvature is curving with the building. So the top of the building is going to be leaning forward. And he, maybe he worded it incorrectly, but I know what he meant. So I just.
Okay. Well, and again, I'm just pointing out things like this, things that I notice, and
Sure.
some of the other shows that have come out also. You just see things and somebody will say something and you kind of cringe and go, no, not that. But
Well, now that I reiterated it, I'm sure you know what he meant
yeah,
at least.
yeah, I do. I get you. I totally do.
Just the overall fact that there has never been anything ever proven, which it should be. We should have, giant posters in our homes of something up from space, and you're seeing buildings leaning. Imagine the Sears Tower leaning, hanging there because of gravity. We should all have these posters in our home if any of this shit could happen, if any of it was real. And the fact that there's none, they don't even fake it. As far as I know, they don't even.
Yep. Oops, you kind of faded out again. That is so weird that's doing that. Are you back with us?
Why he's coming back? Do you know on a globe Earth there are no two walls that are parallel anywhere on Earth?
Yeah.
Think about that. I mean, it's just like there's no two walls that are truly parallel anywhere on Earth.
Actually, I don't know if that's true, David. Think about if it's on the opposite side of the globe. Same coordinates.
The one that's directly on the other side would be parallel. You're right, Bob.
Yep.
All right. Well, that still.
Don't have to go a little deeper than 8 miles down to prove that, huh?
Yeah. How are you going to know?
Yeah, totally. So
hey, I want to just bring up something real quick. One of the things, the main themes of the movie was more land, the possibility of more land, the idea of more land, how it's laid out there. And recently, there is a new book came out called The Navigator Who Crossed the Ice Wall. And it has that map that shows tons of other puddles, ponds. I would call it puddle theory. I put out a video showing this, and in no way am I saying this is reality. What I'm saying is this is an interesting idea, and we should all have the ability to go investigate what's truly beyond Antarctica. And I think that's kind of one of the main messages of the movie.
Of the next level. I mean, I wanted people to understand that we need to abolish the Antarctic Treaty. Doesn't matter what you think's over there. You could think there's a dome touching the ground or something, or you can think there's more land. That's fine. Let us go check.
And one other thing I want to put out there, the Christian community is like, there's nothing, this is going against the Bible. I've been talking with Matt Long and some other Christians about, where in the Bible does it say there is no more land? It talks about the four corners of the earth. Where are those four corners? Are they way, way, way beyond Antarctica? And it's an interesting conversation. I'm recommending that people don't pigeon yourself into, this is the way it is. Maybe there's more to interpret in the Bible or anywhere. There's so many options. We're all on the same team. We all have different ideas on what's beyond, if there's anything beyond, how it's laid out. but we're all like, we know it's not a spinning ball. We're trying to figure it out. So none of the, have conversations. These conversations are productive.
Mhm.
So that's,
Right, but there
also-
being more land doesn't go against the scriptures, though. I don't.
say that again, Austin.
Yeah, there being more land past Antarctica does not go against the scriptures.
No,
There's
it doesn't.
another
And,
one.
and let me say one thing to anyone that has a problem with the idea of more land. Seeing as how, in my opinion, that's one of the main reasons to hide this. But you don't put a limit on the creator.
There you
If
go.
you put limits on the creator, that to me that's blasphemy. So just keep that in mind. You're limiting the creator's creation, and we shouldn't do that until we can go check and verify. Like I said in the film, I'll admit I'm wrong, but all signs point to that. So we need to go collectively as humanity, go check. How about that? Let's
Yeah.
start there. Then we'll go from there.
Yeah, I totally agree with you, Sean. And in fact, when this whole thing first came out, and everybody had their take on it, about why they would do this, and hiding more land was kind of at the bottom of my list. And the more I think about it, and especially after seeing the Japanese map and all of that, it occurs to me that, yeah, it's starting to make a whole lot more sense that there are other continents, other civilizations. You have interesting, stories, whether or not they're real or not, I don't know, about people that have crossed those boundaries and have gone to these other lands, either via the North Pole, down under that, or actually crossing out, over the Antarctica. But I really think that, excuse me, that's entirely possible, that we are being hidden from other land. The question is then, who are the civilizations that are out there, and are they behind keeping us away from it? Is this like some sort of a mutual agreement? We're just like the little kids, the babies on the block, and we have to stay in our crib, or how does that work, right?
I would assume that they're also controlled by now. But again, that's just pure assumption. Who knows? Maybe they have the same fear of crossing their parallel lines, where they can't come over here, or they'll be, you're going to be picked up on radar by ship, by plane. I don't think you're swimming there. So, maybe they've been turned around for all we know, is my point.
And for those of you that are freaking out, this is all curiosity and speculation.
Correct.
We believe, we don't have proof, but there might be close to a preponderance of evidence. But again, these are questions that we're having, and this is, we should be free to go explore the outer lands, the inner.
And again, if there was no books in history, if there was no firsthand eyewitness testimony, you can include Byrd in there, Admiral Byrd, but you don't have to. It's just, if these stories weren't there, if there wasn't so much more land on different maps of the past, and even in the North Pole, and then you got other maps showing past Antarctica, I don't think any of us would be speculating about it. But it, like Bob said, it's when you think about the reason for the lie, you can keep it at the bottom, but it's hard not to let that rise, because we've been fighting over land forever. That's what war is. That's what war was. It's territorial. It's fighting. This is my land. This is your land. You can't intrude my land. But now all of a sudden, everyone agrees. Yeah.
Oh, there you go again, Sean.
Yep.
I think we're drastically misinformed about the amount of land inside of quote unquote Antarctica. I don't think we even know how
Agreed.
big Antarctica is. We don't know where all it goes around. We don't know the actual map directions to go towards Antarctica. I think there's so many islands and huge land masses just out in the Southern Ocean that we have no idea. So I mean, we have a lot on our plate, right? We wouldn't even have to get past Antarctica to find more land.
Islands the size of countries, right?
Exactly.
I mean, amazing. It's so amazing that people aren't demanding that we go look. And there was a somebody who was I forget the connection, but they had they were working at an old army guy's house. He was 92, and he was telling them he wasn't allowed to talk about it until he's 100 because of an NDA. But he said that there's cities of people living beyond Antarctica and within Antarctica or whatever, beyond the shoreline. And that's all we have. It's no proof. It's an old guy that said it, and he was afraid to talk about it until he's 100. And that has a bell of truth to me. It rings true. And the whole Iron Republic thing, whether it's true or not, they were talking about more land beyond Antarctica in the
Absolutely.
early 1900s. So, wake up, people. I mean,
yeah, so
everyone
were
here
they trying
listening.
to cover it up back then?
Yeah.
Or is that what people might think? Like people in the 1800s,
Yeah.
they were creating a theory to do what? To be what does that do? In my, I just want to know the other side of it. Like making up stories about more land in the 1800s, which, by the way, is still covered up today. It's not like you go to your neighbor and they heard about Iron Republic. No one knows about this stuff. So why would they do that? Why would they do that? What does that do? Pretend all of it's fake. There's no more land at all. There's only 7 continents. Well, why would they have to do all that? What does that do? I don't get it. It wouldn't be hidden either.
Well, I think a lot of people, just because of the idea that God placed a firmament over the earth, that kind of cuts them off from the idea of there being other levels, other continents out there, because, all the depictions that we've seen, from the different civilizations all seem to show this relatively circular area with the dome over the top of it. And
can I give you my opinion on why that's what ancients drew?
I would love to hear your opinion on that.
Sure. Well, in my opinion, first of all, none of us know the shape of what's above us. We just don't know. So it could be flat and level like our oceans here on Earth. It could be whatever they're depicting. But in my opinion, the ancients drew those shapes because that's what they witnessed with their own.
Yeah, because it does show what looks like a dome. We've talked about your personal atmospheric dome. It doesn't necessarily mean that it's an actual dome. So I personally think the sky is flat.
Thank you, Jeran. But yeah, just for people to understand my point of view, it could be that shape. I don't know, but too many people act like they know it's the shape of a whatever you put over a dinner plate, like a.
Yeah. Well, one other thing too, Sean, and by the way, just so you know, if one of us starts talking over you, it's because you've kind of done that fade out thing. And it seems like once we talk, then your audio comes back in once again. But to finish my point on that, and then I'll turn it back over to you, is that we've also posited the idea, you have the 4 incoming rivers, right, at the North Pole that are flowing inward. And who's to say that those 4 corners could not be taken from that perspective, right, from the center of the earth? Because that's a natural bifurcation coming in from those 4 rivers that are running into the center.
Correct. Yeah. Well, again, it no matter what the shape above us is, there's no reason to fight over it. We all have our opinions. In my opinion, water's always level. So no one's going to really fight me on that. So whatever's above us, I see a blue sky. My senses tell me it's just water up there, impenetrable water, just like in that A&E documentary, whatever that was, where the guy.
Whoops, you just faded out. Damn, that's crazy.
Let me just throw in some. Jeran brought up the personal atmospheric dome, which him and I talk about quite often, and just another way to think about it for everybody. Your limit of your vision due to air density and perspective across the plane is X distance, whether it's 10 miles or 100 miles, I don't care. So in all directions across the plane, you see the same distance. And then as you start angling your view up, you can see probably a little farther because you're looking through less dense and you don't have the perspective of the earth cutting you off. So in reality, if you connected all those infinite number of points, you're creating a dome of vision. You can only see so far in all directions, and all of those points, an infinite number of points put together, makes a perfect dome with you at the center. And that's how we see the world.
Yeah, well, that's kind of a virtual perspective, though, right? I mean, we're talking about the dome of vision, like Jeran has outlined, is related to the limits of our eyes and perspective, whereas the 4 corners of the earth and where those boundaries actually set. That's more of like a physical place, right? So
yeah, I would like to say, if you think about this, right? So water always finds its level, yeah. But so if the bottom of we call them heavenly waters or whatever, if there's whatever there is containing and separating, it would come down to the inertial plane. It would just be outside of our container. Like the water wouldn't be flat above us. The water would come down to the inertial plane. I mean, it would still be level, right? But we would, so if there's a container going through that water, it doesn't actually have any limit of shape or anything. It has no limit, right? It's very, very undefined, but it. So if does that make sense? Like
yeah, the
yeah, there doesn't
Flammarion
make
actually
that
kind of gives you that idea. You know, the Flammarion. You know, that the thing where the guy's peeking under the stars and the dome that comes down over the Earth. He lifts up part of the Earth and is peeking under the stars or peeking under the firmament. That's kind of, you know, what that is showing, I think.
Right, like it would be the ocean floor keeps going because that's the inertial plane that we live on. It would just keep going out into what we call the heavenly waters, right? It would all have that same area, as far as I can tell. Now, I mean, I certainly don't know, bro, but I'm just saying, I leave it open. I think that the ancients were very wise, and I think they understood the physical manifestation of electromagnetic fields. And so, you know, you'd cut us through the middle, what you would perceive as the top half of a toroid. So how do you depict that in artistry? You know, I don't know. I think that they didn't just make the shape up. Yeah.
Well, like Bob said, 4 corners of the earth, right? So in my mind, not that it's legit. It's just what I feel is, you know, you could see 4 corners of water of an ocean or whatever. That's a bathtub, right? If you have a cornered bathtub or a pool. So I just kind of look at that as above and below. It's just we're in the middle of water, and our plane of existence is sitting in the middle of it all. And is there more worlds? I don't know. We have to go check. But I envision the water above being as level as the water below that we all defend.
Yeah.
Sure. Yeah. The water is all definitely going to have to be level, right? For any physical understanding that we have, all the water's level, but it's just like, where is that actual area that it's level? Like, where does it find its level? Like, is there an area above the earth where that water just stays there? It's like layers, horizontal layers of water.
Yeah, it could be, because our vision would still make that dome shape. Like Jeran
For sure.
The
I agree with
vision.
that.
So,
Yeah.
you know, even when the ancients were trying to sketch out their cosmology, they're still looking at it from that personal dome space where everything, including the sun, looks like it's going down. So does the water above. It looks like it's going down. We all know that if you were 100 miles down there, the ocean above your head would be directly above you.
Yeah. And, you know, what's interesting is I don't think that, you know, I certainly don't think that humanity is the pinnacle of evolution for life. And if it is, God help us, right? So it just doesn't register to me that, you know, we would be anywhere near the top of that chain. There have to be other life forms. There have to be other civilizations. They may not be like the Klingons and the Borg and, you know, all the people in the Star Trek universes or anything like that. And in fact, you know, I'm on the same page with you, Sean. I think space is water, or at least some form of it. That seems to be one of the most sacred and amazing things that we've ever discovered. Water is absolutely amazing, and I think there's so much more to understand about it. But you know, whether we're underwater and that's our medium or whatever it is, there've got to be other intelligences, other souls. And then, you know, from some of the studies that I've read, there are actually beings that are not souled. They are, you know, like some of these demon beings that influence, you know, some of the energies that we have. And that, of course, all depends on whether you're on board with that or not. But it just seems to me that the universe has to be as diverse, even within the flat Earth paradigm, as it is that, you know, the outer space paradigm gave us. At least that diverse.
Yeah, I agree. But just like more land, anything above us is speculation. So, you know, and I did ask that question to many people in the film. I didn't have time to put that section in, but I do remember Martin agreeing with us that above us is water, in a sense. I know, Martin, if you want to speak for yourself on that, if you're hearing me right now, but yeah. So Martin was mentioning, and I didn't put this in the film because, again, I didn't have the time, but everyone gave me their opinion, and Martin was more similar to me and Dave in a sense. But Martin, did you want to touch on that at all, about the waters above, and if it's, you know, possibly a level ocean above, or do you think there's a glass solid dome, or again, it's speculation? But
I'd like to hear Jeran's opinion on that.
Also, Jeran, of course.
Yeah, Martin, you're muted. There you go.
Oh, you muted again, Martin. One more, hit the mute button one more time. There you go.
There, I'm there.
Yep.
There
Okay,
you
it just
go.
went back on again. Okay, so yeah, I do think there's waters above, and I have sort of speculated if it was the Greater Tartarian Ocean and there was like lands, bigger lands, you know, because there's evidence these buildings that I'm witnessing now, I think they were occupied by giants. The locks have all been shifted to a higher position because people are bigger for some reason. Station door here where I am. And the rooms are just so big, you know, this is for like bigger people. I am a big civilization. So they're not here now. So if you've ever watched Gulliver's Travels or read Gulliver's Travels, there's Lilliput, isn't there? And there's a land where there's littler people, bigger people. So I was sort of surmising whether there was lands outside where there were actually bigger people. But instinctively, I feel that definitely domed, but I feel that we're in some sort of vessel, possibly upside down, as strange as that might seem. I think we're basically lost at sea, is the way I would say it. We may even be in Noah's Ark itself right now, not even knowing it, surviving some greater cataclysm and flood and not even knowing it, guys. So that's where my mind is.
All right.
That's thinking.
Very good.
And I think also the same thing. I think that I think it is water above, and I just think that the sky is a lot closer than we are, than most people depict it as, right? So a lot of people draw the dome. I can share my screen real quick, Bob, if you want to see something real quick. Just you should see my drawing program here.
Oops, hang on a second. Let me switch over to it. And we got it. Yep.
So if this is kind of a side view of the flat Earth, I think that you figure this right here, this stick is about 3,000 miles tall. If I were to take 2,500 miles as the width of the United States, so you know really the sky is like that. And usually we have these depictions of this giant dome, and then no wonder why people say, well, why wouldn't somebody in the South be able to see the North Pole Star? Of course, you would be able to see it if it was that far up. But when it's very low, now you get into the idea of what we talk about with the bedroom or the room that's 5 miles wide. Now you can understand where somebody standing over here in the South cannot see the same stars that somebody sees here. It's too far, and by then the star is set below the horizon or at the horizon. So I don't think enough people see it that way, but that's really, even if you take the sun at 3,000 miles, which I think the sky could even be lower than that. And then no matter where you're at, you're going to view everything in your circle, in your dome of vision.
Totally
and then
agree.
It might even, if somebody could ever model it, there might be a chance that when people are in the South, if this whole thing was kind of turning around, that maybe because they see in a dome that they would actually see that set of stars kind of do a circle like this, which would create a South Pole star for each of those people looking south.
I totally agree. Totally agree.
That's it.
Add some more continents there, and you got a deal.
yeah, for sure. Yeah, no, I mean, I'm somebody who thinks that I think Captain Cook left. I don't think he died. I think the whole story of his death is completely fabricated. If you go read it, they don't even say, they say that the Aborigines or something in Hawaii killed him, and then the people on the boat went and like found a hand, and they said he died, and that was his hand, and they buried his hand. That's the story of Captain Cook's death. But I think when he was on his second trip, they found the exit, and so on the third trip, I think they left. So there, I think Captain Cook escaped this area.
P-Brain has a couple videos, and they're in the app under star rotation that show how you would see a circling stars with a center point in the south.
Yeah,
makes a lot of sense to me.
Like crepuscular rays and stuff.
Yeah, and I think the last video he did, it's under Southern Stars in the FAQ. Also, that book that I mentioned that Sean had shown, that map, that's my last video. I just put that in the book section if anybody wants to check it out. It's very interesting. So it's a top book under books in the app.
Yep. Very cool. Well, you know, it's interesting that, you know, they say that the oceans on Earth are largely unexplored, right? We've only explored a very, very small percentage of it. And when you look at some of the creatures that are in the ocean, that come from the ocean, I mean, they're absolutely amazing, right? I will never get over the awe that octopus, you know, bring when I watch them. I mean, they're absolutely amazing. They look, it's almost like when you're looking at them and they're looking back at you with those eyes, that there's absolutely an intelligence there, right? And the things that they can do with their bodies physiologically, to completely camouflage every little microbe, a different, I mean, they could literally, they're like a high definition LCD screen, right? It's amazing. I mean, how does something like that evolve from a big bang? That's patently absurd. And I think that, maybe there are superior beings living in our own oceans that are kind of keeping an eye on us, and that they originally came from the waters above, things like that. But yeah, octopus just blow me away. I don't know about you guys. So yeah, pretty crazy.
Octopuses are amazing. As you said, the way they just change their color and texture. Unfortunately, they're also delicious.
Yeah, see, and that, I don't know, that I also could never eat one just because of that. I mean, it's weird if you see one, and literally they had a couple of them at the Seaquarium in Maui, and a few different places I have been to, and it's creepy. You can literally go up and look them in the eye, and they're looking right back at you, man. And it's like they know everything that's going on inside of your mind. It's a complete trip, And yeah, so I could never eat an octopus just because of that. And also, it seems like the elite seem to have an affinity, for things like that that are in the octopus family, as some sort of a very intelligent life form. So I don't know. It's just super, super interesting. And again, all of this stuff is right here on our Earth. And again, how did we get so many species? Where did they come from? And I just can't imagine that any of this was ever, an accident that just evolved, willy-nilly. That's patently absurd to even think that. So anyway, so on part 3 then, Sean, what's that gonna be about?
I need a little bit of time to rest my mind, but
okay.
As soon as, I had so much editing to do for this one. My neck's killing me. I just got to get back to physical health here and mental health again, and then I can go from there. I've been taking notes. Ever since I released the next level, I've been taking notes like, oh shit, I forgot that. I forgot to mention this. And oh man, I totally forgot to hit that topic. And I'm just taking notes here for level 3. It's a working title. I don't know what I'm going to call it yet, but, and then who's going to be involved? Do I keep the same cast? Do I replace half? Do I just add more? I don't know. I don't know. I don't know. Wherever the road leads me, it's going to take me there. And I trust that road, that the road they put me on to help wake the world up has been working. So I'm just going to trust my senses and where the universe leads me to, and trust the creator to bring me to that place of, now you need to do it this way, or these are the new topics. These are the people that should be involved in this. And, but I do want to shoot in 4K. That's my goal. Got to get the equipment. Obviously I would need a better computer. So there's certain steps involved to get to the goal I really have. So I'm just going to keep pushing forward.
I put in the chat, I'm going to say it here. Anyone that's already seen the movie or hasn't already seen the movie, go buy it at the next level 2022.com for $7, and then email me your receipt from today, and I will give you 3 free downloads on Android for the app, which is $9. So you're actually making $2, and you have a copy of the movie to have on your computer to show people, and in high def. So
thank you, Dave.
And
thank
anybody
you.
that wants to do that, because I am doing this for selfish reasons. I want Sean to make another movie because I love his movies. I want him to be financed. I don't have to be in the movie. I'd probably prefer not to be in it, but if there's a reason for me to be in it, that's fine. I don't care. I just want
You'll
another.
Be in it, bro.
I just want. We'll see. I don't know if you could afford me. No, I'm just kidding. That's a joke. That's 100% joke, people.
Wait till the hit pieces start coming out. David.
Yeah, of course. Listen, I'm so far beyond that. So far beyond, people that are just hating life. Well, they're just out of my view. I don't care. I hang out with Jeran because Jeran's got a positive attitude. Look at all the videos he's been putting out. Amazing stuff. I love this show. Sean's been amazing. just if everybody would just follow, Sean's been talking a lot about following his path. The creator has given him a purpose, and I feel that also. It's like it's weird. It's like what I'm doing is like I couldn't have been in this film, created the app. I couldn't have done all of this if something wasn't guiding me, something wasn't helping me. And all of the people here, like from Austin, the way he looks at Christianity and everything, all of these people, just kind of help. If everyone just allows the good and lets go of the bad, this is going forward faster and faster.
It's the only way to wake the world up, in my opinion. Doing big projects like this.
Yeah. So info@theflatearthpodcast.com. In the title, put "I bought the app today." Send me a screenshot of your receipt, and then congratulations, you've made $2.
Yeah,
if you do the math.
I really do appreciate
that's just for Android. I don't have a mechanism to do that for Apple. So everybody has friends that have Androids. You don't have to like them just because they don't have Androids, but they have Androids, but that's the way it is.
And the one thing I promise I'll get is fucking proper lighting. I promise I'll have proper lighting for the next one. I swear.
Well, it'd be good if you actually had a decent computer. How old is your computer, Sean?
Well, this one's Matt's. I'm sure it's at least 5 years old. It got the job done, and I can be nothing but blessed and appreciative of that. I just know that my brain's too quick. If I can even get something to even double the speed, especially the RAM, and so I can, while I'm editing, it just keeps going. I don't have to stop. Like sometimes I have to wait 5 minutes to continue, and I'm like, I'm just working on one little part. It's just there's so many effects I put into it. And you need the RAM, you need the CPU speed. So I don't need the greatest computer in the world, but just if I had something a little bit better, I know that I can get the film done and make it longer too. Not that, not that 80 minutes isn't long enough, but I was shooting for 90, 100 minutes at least. And, it's April 21st and I'm like, well, that ain't going to happen.
Yeah. Well,
I kept it where it is.
I wouldn't mind starting a crowdfund, project for something like that for you because, we already know your work. We're very familiar with it. We know you're dedicated to the message. I would certainly be very happy to contribute to it. To kick it all off and if you have a better machine, then you don't have to worry about that so much because, your worry is that, everybody in the truth community is, it should be free. Truth should be free. And yeah, I suppose
it will be.
Yeah. And while that is probably true, it's not always easy to make it that way. Right. It's not like all of us are made out of money. And
I wish I didn't have rent. Who
yeah,
doesn't?
me too. We all have bills.
I wish I didn't have to eat. These are things where it's like, do I put this flat Earth, production on hold and go get a 9 to 5? I tinkered with that idea. Even
you don't do that.
I know, no, that's what I mean. I'm just saying, like, even during the making of this, there was times where I'm like, I might have to shut this down because I need to pay bills. It sucks. And it's like, I'm not the type of person, as you all should know, to do things like that. So, when I asked for some help just to get these flights and hotels and everything paid for and accommodated for and videographers paid for, I was shocked and humbled at the same time that everyone helped out. And, it doesn't make me want to do more. I'd rather just, get the rentals in, because the community wants to support, and that can help with the next project. But that's not always how it works, unfortunately. I wish it was that easy. But yeah, I mean, again, my goal is to not have to do another funding situation for anything. I would never want to do that again.
You did a great job on minimal funding. So I have no doubt that it'll go there. People just rent the buy the movie. It's $7, right? Just get it, have it, and that will help Sean, and that'll also help you because you'll have it in high def. And when it's movie night with the family, with the friends, with the fiance, whoever it is, you'll have the high def copy. And when the internet goes down, you'll still have the next level.
Yeah, don't worry. It won't. Your $7 isn't going towards a Ferrari. It's going towards the next
a Lamborghini.
Yeah, right.
Exactly.
It's not going to something like that. It's going right back into the community. It's going right back into future productions. You know, I mean, it's just that's what it's about, is supporting each other. Even when Santos had his Synchronous Society starting up and he wanted to start the academy, I was one of the first one. I'm boom, donate, because it's something I'd rather spend money on. People talk shit about helping out with finances in terms of the truth movement, but they still have Spotify. They still have YouTube Premium. They're still paying Netflix and Amazon. And you can't talk then. If you're supporting Hollywood, but you're a truther and you don't want to support the truth people that are out there with no 9-to-5s, with families and with bills, and you can't.
One last thing for people that get the movie, you can get it, and then if you have a total glober, non-flat Earth, not in the community friend that you want to share that high def copy with, share it with them. They're your friend. They're not going to be buying Sean's movie anyway, so go ahead and share it with them, and because they're not going to buy it, and then nothing's better than converting people to flat Earth. That's what we're all trying to do, and if we all keep trying to do that, this hockey stick is going to keep on shooting up in the air. I have high hopes for 2022. So
yeah, and May 5th, like I said, May 5th, it's free. So at the end of the week, it's free on YouTube. It'll be on all of our channels. So don't think of it like, oh man, they're charging for this. It's like, no, it's just, hey, here's a couple weeks if you want to watch it early and support the movement here that I'm trying to do with the new productions and just getting together ideas for the next one, getting equipment, getting things ready, and taking constructive criticism, taking ideas and advice for the next one. Even though I try to do 10 jobs at once. If I can raise enough money or just make enough, I could probably, what's the word? Subcontract with trustful resources, of course, but to get a little help so I can get a better movie and do it quicker. Because I'm doing everything myself, guys. That's one thing. I mean, my girlfriend was sitting through this half the time, like, how can you do 7 jobs at once and not have all the stress and anxiety 24/7? And I did, and it's challenging because it's like
I think people have a hard time understanding, our level of commitment to this when, to them it's like, yeah, whatever. But there's something that, the people that are right in the midst of this, like you and me and Jeran and Dave and so many other flat earth creators that, we pour our heart and soul into this. We pour money into it, our time. I've dedicated 7 years of my life to this, trying to get this information out. It's because I guess they just don't understand that we see the bigger picture, and we understand that if we don't come in and step in and, try to make people aware and, stand up and do something about this, that we're toast, we're doomed. We see that clearly, and we have a job to do,
Well, yeah, the algorithm's already changed. I mean, there's no more speaking to people saying, go research flat Earth. It'll change your life. That's bad advice in 2022 to go research flat Earth. So it's they made it very difficult for us to get the word out, and I'm trying to cut every corner and go around every block and seeing what I can do differently, how I can get different audiences. And Dave's an inspiration to that, because I'd love, I went on a show a couple days ago. I think it's Sam Tripoli's friends, XG, and he has a show of just the audience is nothing but stoners. It's just a bunch of stoners. It's a podcast, and they just talk about odds and ends. But they wanted me on there to talk about the film. So a lot of people want to. I mean, a lot of them are saying we're waiting till it's free, and that's fine. That's up to them. But a lot of people are going to watch this, and Dave's kind of that inspiration I needed when he's out there, and he's purposely trying to reach every type of audience he possibly can. And that's what I'd like to do with this film. And I didn't do that last year. I didn't have the mental resources in my mind to even think about it. So now I'm going to be trying to go on different shows and talk about the film and share the film and go to different audiences. It doesn't have to be a flat Earth audience. It should be the other audiences without some form of debate and getting screamed at all the time. And it was a lovely show that I went on, and it made me realize, I can keep doing this and reaching other audiences.
Yep. Whoops, you dropped out again. Okay. So yeah, I agree with you, Sean. I really do. But You know, I'm going to try and, you know, help you out and get that kicked off for you and see, you know, if nothing else, I've been able to, you know, help several people in the community with computers. I built Jeran's old one, I've actually built several for several people in the community. I have lots of extra computer parts. I can do it cheaper than a lot. And I think if we can just get a little bit of financing for the expensive stuff, i.e. the video cards, because let's face it, what you're doing, what it really requires is an outstanding high level video card, right? And they're pricey. They can be several $100s, but it makes all the difference in the world. You're not sitting there waiting forever for it to render, right? So
yeah, that's why I say it's like your pencil keeps breaking. It's so annoying. So it's if I didn't have that issue, I know what I'm capable of. So I'm waiting for that day.
Yeah, and of course Jeran's spoiled rotten now. He went and put a really, really pricey video card in his new system.
I don't blame him.
You're spoiled rotten, aren't you?
I am. It's true. I'm very spoiled. I can't be complaining right now. No, I think it's the best memory card or the best graphics card that's out there.
Yeah, without a doubt.
Man.
Yeah,
but I don't use no more waiting times, right, Jeran?
No, it renders at 1/4 real speed, which my other renderer used to be about 8 times real speed. So it used to be, you know, a 10-minute video would take 8 times that, 80 minutes to render. Now it's 1/4, so a 10-minute video would take 2.5 minutes.
Oh man,
that's 1920 by 1080 too.
Yeah, that would.
Guy's salivating now.
Let's say it that way. That sounds spoiled.
A little bit, yes.
Yep.
Thank you to everybody who signed up for crypto consultations. You bought the big computer.
Absolutely.
That's what I mean. You know, you're putting support in, and it's you're going to get better results out. It's just about supporting everybody instead of hating on everybody. You know, it's a lot easier to support and love people than to hate and criticize.
I know. I hate it when people say, "Were you just doing it for the money?" I was like, "Oh my god."
Yeah.
That's infuriating because we're not making money on it.
Well, as if anybody who actually puts time and effort into anything isn't making money. I mean, that's what everybody does. What it is people are jealous that you're doing what you're doing for money and they're doing what they're doing for money. That's why they get upset. They want you to work they say, get a real job because they want you to work at Taco Bell like they do.
Yeah, exactly. When honestly, there's just better things that need to be handled. And, you know, Sean has already proven himself to be an outstanding video maker and a real asset to the community. I mean, just look at his work, people. What else needs to be said? So, you know, that's why I'm going to try and get that kicked off for you, Sean, and see what we can do in that area. And
I appreciate
just get you some better equipment. I really do. And honestly, I guess we had a little communication breakdown. I didn't realize that you needed this footage and stuff for this particular iteration of this movie. But
it's okay.
I have it all, and it's fabulous. I don't know if you've been watching it, but I mean, the footage we got on the Eclipse was out of this world. Really, really good. So
yeah, I was gonna put it. I know you saw the film, the part where Tanner and Dave were talking about Behind the Curve and how they just edited everything out. They didn't put what you guys meant in there, and that's why I wanted to include it so people could say, "Oh yeah, look, you know, they completely cut it out." But it's okay. It that's what the next one's for. So the next one we'll cover that again. And I advise Jeran too. Anything, because you know with the Globe Trolls, you know their number one thing is okay. Thanks, Bob. So I looked at that as thanks, Bob. I'm like, you guys don't understand. This was Netflix and Delta that completely screwed this up. No one's going to sit here and claim Behind the Curve was a flat Earth film to show people, but at the same time, people need to understand this was all done from Delta and Netflix, and they chopped it all up. So I wanted to give an opportunity to show the audience, even the newer flat earthers that are probably now converted from this film, that were, well, what about Behind the Curve? What about all the things we've always seen about that? So I advise to Jeran, if you have anything on your end scene that gets made fun of all the time, let's attack it for the next one, because this is something that this was their Hail Mary. Behind the Curve, in my opinion, was their Hail Mary because they were losing it. Even with their algorithm change, there were still people were converting left and right. They had to do a hit piece. They had to promote it, and they had to edit it in the sense that they did. So I'm, you know, and I wrote a personal message to Daniel C. Clark or J. Clark, whatever the director's name is. It wasn't, let's just say it wasn't nice. But this was right after that film came out, and I told him in that email that you're gonna pay for this, and I'm gonna embarrass the shit out of you one day soon. And my goal was for this film, but we'll do it. We'll do even better of a job of it next film.
Yeah, and you know, I think that would be great, because if we could integrate something like that into, you know, into it, you know, showing what we did, and also explain the fact that, hey, we sent them that information. They chose to ignore it. They chose to completely obfuscate it and made it look like, you know, we were trying to hide something, when in fact, I was telling the truth. I mean, I didn't like saying we detected a 15-degree-per-hour drift, but the fact is we did. And at that particular point in time, we were surprised by it. Absolutely, we were. But it all turns out that, you know, we weren't the first ones to detect it. And this goes all the way back to Michelson Gale. And there's a ton of back information on this. And of course, the people supporting Einstein and his derailing of the ether are saying, well, the ether doesn't exist, so therefore your explanation. It's like, no, that's not true at all. In fact, Einstein himself said that it would be unimaginable to think of a world without ether, right? Which is really puzzling as to why he would, you know, mathematically debunk it. So I think it would be great if we could, you know, kind of put some sort of a little segment of that. And, you know, we have all the footage and all the data and all that stuff, and we can actually maybe show that. And then Jeran kind of do the same thing on his, just to give you an idea. And you're right, to show what a scoundrel, you know, what a dog Daniel Clark is, you know, because
that, and you know what, maybe we redo these tests, or we redo at least one of them. So, you know, it's, if Netflix can try to pull it off and then they flip it on you guys, I'm not going to flip it. We're going to tell the truth in this one. So I wouldn't mind doing any science experiment.
Yeah, we did before. That was the thing. So I was damned if I was, damned if I wasn't. I told the truth, so I was called a liar. If I didn't tell the truth and didn't bring it up, I would have been a liar. It's like, oh, this is a real nice position to find yourself in, right? And so, yeah, I didn't like what we found, but we told the truth about it, and it is what it is. And I still, even though I wish some things had gone different, I still stand by that decision, because, you know, lying about it wasn't going to do anybody any good. Yeah, it may have given them their thanks, Bob, you know, moment, but it will also give us the opportunity, if presented correctly, to show that these people will do anything, because they have no argument, to provide an illusion about proof of their globe, which they have nothing, you know? So
yeah, they don't. They have absolutely nothing. Like Santos said in the film, all they, if you want to say they have anything, it's just Einstein saying his little quote, which he totally contradicts himself anyways. So, you know, that there's no optical experiment that can prove the Earth is moving, but the Earth is moving because, you know, we're going around the sun. It's like, what are you talking about? And that's why I had to tell people right away in the film that Einstein, you know, I wanted to say he was mentally challenged, but I kept that out. I just said that there was something wrong with the guy. All he does is read cue cards and notes people hand him, but he's put on this platform as the top puppet of science, you know, for a reason. So, you know, just people are lazy. They don't want to research anything. They don't want to do anything.
I know. And maybe just some tidbits about that. Einstein never, the only patent that Einstein ever got in his entire life was for a blouse, right? That's it. He has no standing piece of technology or any world, you know, shattering revelations to bring into the narrative. It's all BS. And in fact, when you start looking into his personal history, he's a twisted little pervert, right? He's a pervert. He's a liar. And he himself thought that, you know, a world without the ether was inconceivable. And yet he was being put on a platter and being directed to, you know, discount his own work. And to me, it's like, wow. So you'll betray all of your other physicists who know full well that the ether does work. And even today, most Nobel laureates will tell you straight up, if you ask them, does the ether exist? The answer is yes. Okay. That experiment was done probably 100 times after the Michelson-Gale experiment that was done, you know, way back 100 plus years ago. After that, up into and including in the 80s, done by the United States Air Force. It's real. It's there. We have technology based on the ether. If the ether didn't exist, the technology couldn't work. Laser interferometry could not work. And, it's just amazing. But people have no idea about this because, unfortunately, they've reduced us to this rah, 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 go team, go mentality. And, everybody wants to be on the winning team, right? It's so sad. So, all right. So what do you guys think? You guys have any other questions for Sean or Martin or David on this as to what you would like to see come up in the next episode of this, or how possibly you might be able to help or anything like that? You have any suggestions?
I would really like to see. I know that is maybe a little complicated, but I always think, what if we could be able to send a stratospheric balloon trying to synchronize with some SpaceX launch or some supposedly Starlink satellite convoy, things like
That's
that.
a great idea. Yeah.
And thank you, man. And here in Argentina, for example, I saw a few times, I think 3 or 4 times, the Starlink convoy passing over my head. It's really, not amazing, but I mean, you can see, of course, the white dot in a row, crossing the sky, but I don't know exactly what it is, if it's, stratospheric balloons, some type of drones or whatever. And in fact, I never, saying that they don't have any technology to put things, quote unquote, in orbit, in a magnetic orbit or something like that, that could be possible. It's not something that, the problem is that we see the phenomena. The phenomena is something going across our head, but that doesn't mean that it's in orbit in the heliocentric way. You can explain things in a multiple perspective, But it will be something nice to trying to synchronize something that we finally can see things in the sky and in a more close approach and, analyze that footage.
Yeah, I like that idea. That's a great idea.
I do.
Because Blockbuster sent it in the eclipse day, for example, and that it's nice, but it's so far away or maybe so mysterious that you see almost the same thing as you can see from the ground. But with this man-made equipment, maybe we can see finally what's going on up there.
Yeah, that's a good idea. I would also like to track a solar eclipse and figure out where the moon is maybe a week before, and then have everyone kind of coagulate and figure out what's going to happen before, during, after, just try to actually pay attention to where the moon is beforehand. And because who knows what you could discover when you try, right?
Yeah,
absolutely.
I think that's something that I don't think anyone's ever tried to do up to this point. So it would be nice to, just imagine, I know you don't make fun of me, but just imagine the moon is somewhere else during a solar eclipse somewhere else. So, you just never know. You never know. No one's ever tried, because there's been times where like the moon's outside and it's like there's an eclipse on the other part of the world somewhere. And it's like, oh, but if you're on this side of the world, you won't see anything. And it's like, yeah, I just see a regular moon. So there's no eclipse. Oh, you can't see it from that side of the earth, only that side. So, well, what's eclipsing over by them? And so it's like, there might be a way to really do that. I don't know. I don't think it's going to be that hard to do that. We just got to track the next solar eclipse, and then everybody needs to pay attention. It'll be easy to use Dave's app with everybody, all the flat earthers on there. We can all help each other and figure out what's actually going on, if we can, of course, if we can.
Absolutely. And it's funny because we had even organized other balloon launches, and Aero was getting ready to do one with gosh, I can't remember the organization name was, but basically after we were done talking about AMSAT, that's right, AMSAT. They were going to do a balloon test with them, and after we got done doing a Globebuster show detailing, what we were going to do, somebody got a phone call from AMSAT saying, if you air that, you're going to be revoked out of AMSAT's Argentinian division. You won't do it. You won't work with these people. And it's absolutely absurd the amount of effort that goes into suppressing, even doing just experiments, something as innocuous as a balloon launch, because they know a balloon launch can be very, very, very revealing, right? Who knows what we're going to come up with on these things, but it just goes to show you their desperation level is on maximum, and it's sickening.
That was crazy. I remember the guy who was the administrator here in Argentina, calling us and saying, man, in 30 years working with Absat, I never was so humiliated, because the phone call, it wasn't, just, okay, don't help this group to send the balloon. No, it was very frightening. It was in the, superior hierarchy type of conversation. And that never happened to this guy in 30 years working with them. So that, when people ask us to, why you don't do this or do that, or, well, man, the system don't allow us to have free research. It's very hard. It's not so easy as if you have a money, the money is not the final goal to trying to make experiment or observation. When you want to go up there with sounding rocket or stratospheric balloons, if you want to do in the right way, asking for permission, so then you can present the paper in the scientific way. They don't allow you. You need to do hiding in the woods if you want to see that way. In fact, we sent it 2 stratospheric balloons, but we wait like 6 months, trying to the water come down and the people don't suspect that we are engaging the balloon launch anyway. So we need to wait like 6 months, then send it. Everything was fine, and we sent another one last year. But it's not funny, trying to do your own research and have all this opposition from the system.
Done with.
Lost sound. Anything going on?
Oh, I'm sorry. God damn it. I was muted. All right. Let me start again here. Sorry about that. So yeah, I think it would be great to redo a lot of these experiments. And I don't know if we have access still to this particular fiber optic gyro, but we do have a couple of lines on some other stuff. We are planning on redoing Aries failure, which I was amazed, guys. Did you find it interesting that Ken Wheeler didn't know anything about Aries failure?
I thought it was weird. I thought he would definitely know. Anybody who knows Michael Samorley like he does, I would think would know.
You would think, but see, that was one that was very, very devastating, and they couldn't exactly spin that one that much. And the simplicity of it is so simple. I mean, there's no way. I mean, how could you debunk it? Honestly, it makes perfect sense. The way that it works, the light angle is either already coming in correctly at the right angle, or it will have to be refracted into that correct position. And, whoever thought of that was absolutely brilliant. And that's why I think that this is absolutely one of those globe killers. And I can hardly wait, honestly, to get Ken Wheeler on board with this and see what he thinks about that. Because if there's anything that should, turn his head, it should be that, I would think.
Well, and that the globe Earth still can't even postulate, viable magnetic model for the globe. So it doesn't even exist, like a viable model of how there could be our magnetic field on a globe. Has he not ever maybe looked into that? I don't know.
Well, I'm sure he knows about the Curie point, and that is the whole thing. We're told that the Earth's molten iron core is throwing out this magnetic field, which is patently impossible, because in order to be at molten iron temperature, you are way past the Curie point for magnetism. And that, of course, is what the Curie point is where whatever metal or whatever substance you are magnetizing basically loses all magnetic permeability. When you exceed a temperature and it's not very high, that's what happens. It's as simple as that. So, the fact that they even came up with that in the first place and the amount of backpedaling that they've done, with that excuse is just beyond belief. Because it's, this is first year type physics, right? The Curie point. If they even offer this anymore, I'm really curious as to, what classes are like, now as far as what they're teaching in physics and sciences to like when I was in high school, back in the 70s. I'll bet it's dramatically changed. One thing I do know is they have never taught anybody to ever think critically. And it seems like anything that is, could be useful to help people to get along, like actually, learning how to balance a checkbook or understand, things about finances and mortgages and stuff like that. All of that is purposely removed from the curriculum to make it as challenging as possible for anybody growing up in this world. And you have to find out everything for yourself. And then you're just more distracted. And the more distracted you are, the more you really have the opportunity to look at what's happening in the world. And that is their formula. And you know what? It works damn good, doesn't it? It's crazy.
Like, I cite this thing from Harvard a lot, but they just don't have an explanation at all. Like the Curry point's one of the problems. I mean, they have numerous models, but they can't even map it out properly. They can't get the movement properly. They can't explain why it has all the aspects of a permanent magnetic field, but it can't be a permanent magnetic field properly. So they can't even lay out the magnetic field in the globe. They can't explain where it goes to, and like you said, the origin of the source of the magnetism itself within the model. So I think that might be what would really hit home with him. Like it's very easy to explain a plain Earth in a magnetic field. Like it's very easy to explain a magnetic field on a flat Earth. It's literally impossible on a globe Earth to like even explain it hypothetically.
Yeah, I agreed. Yeah, way agreed. So, yeah. So anyway, have you heard that Ken Wheeler interview yet, Austin? I assume you have, yes?
Yeah, I thought it went great.
Yeah, I did too. It's funny because I heard some people talking and, these people they're Ken Wheeler haters, but then they were sitting there saying that how Ken Wheeler had to correct us on everything, that we had everything wrong. It's like, really? What is it that we had wrong? About supposedly we were saying that Einstein hated the ether. We don't hate the ether. We know full well that Einstein, like I said earlier, couldn't imagine a world without the ether. But again, you have to wonder, who are these people that come in with these alternate stories that really try and just, completely blow up any continuity in any conversation? It's amazing. But I probably shouldn't look at the community's reaction to so many things like that. One thing I was going to say, David, is when they start doing the hit pieces, on you inside the movie, what they'll do is they'll find a freeze frame where you look absolutely horrible in it, like, totally tired or burned out, or like you haven't slept in a week or something like that, and they'll freeze on that forever. God, I hate it when people do that.
I saw orange in the background when Dave was there in the movie, so he's amazing.
What'd you see in the background?
The color orange.
Oh, that is true. Yes.
Yeah, you're a Mason.
It shouldn't be too hard to find a spot where I look like I haven't slept in weeks, because that's just me.
Yeah.
It's all right.
Yep.
I do it. I do it. Just everyone, we just do what we do, and the haters are going to hate, and just ignore the haters. And I think we're making incredible progress. I think that, we're literally at the tipping point. It's amazing, and there's evidence of that. So keep going, everybody.
Yeah, absolutely.
Share the movie, share the app, share the playlists, share this show, share whatever you think will wake people up. Right? I'm sharing with people that that I didn't share with before, because there's no more time. There's no more time to pussyfoot around. Hit up your lifelong friends. Now is the time. Hit up your family. Everybody.
And everyone should push the movie where my boy can make some bread back. You know, everyone should go pay for the movie, and everyone should push that they pay for it.
Yeah, anybody that watched it for free on, found it somewhere for free, buy a copy now just to support them, and that way you'll have a copy. So that's all.
Yeah, like it's just important to rally behind people that like put out good work and work hard on something to try to get out the truth of this community. I mean, that should be like a mandatory minimum that we kind of agree on unspoken in the community. If someone puts out quality work that takes time, we should rally behind them financially, right? So
agreed. And everybody knows, look, times are tough right now. There's no doubt about that. Money is not exactly growing on trees. And, from what we can tell, it's only going to be getting worse. I mean, we're seeing all these crazy things happening. They're saying, oh, the food shortages are absolutely next as they are, literally roasting alive millions or billions of chickens, right? Literally, I mean, they couldn't just kill them, right? They had to actually make it the cruelest possible form of extermination ever, and they literally slow cooked them. Did you guys see that in the news at all?
No, Mark.
Oh, it was horrible.
But I don't think you're not gonna have to refinance your mortgage loan to buy the movie. Everybody can go buy the movie. Everyone just go buy it.
Yeah. Well, and you know what? If you can't afford it, you can't afford it. But I think everybody that really wants to feel a part of this, even if you just give a little bit by buying something, you are getting something in return. It helps Sean out. It helps out any creator that's doing something like this. And, you can be proud of that. You can actually be part of it because Lord knows we are not, and I repeat, we are not making money on this, not even close. And, nor are we really interested in it. What we're interested in is getting the word out because like we said, I see it this way. I have kids, I have grandkids, and unless this world changes, and I mean fast, then my kids and my grandkids are never going to have a full life like I have, and neither will yours. And, it is literally down to brass tacks. This is, I've said it a million times, this is endgame. And the only weapon that we have is to wake people up, and the elites, think it's funny because they can literally tell us straight to our faces. Like Biden was on the news this week. Oh, the food shortage is going to get a lot worse. And we're going to, I mean, I couldn't believe he's sitting there saying that. It's like, wow, let's just, tell it the way that it is. And people are not reacting to it. So I don't know what it's going to take to light a fire under people, but this is pretty serious stuff. And that's why we do what we do. So there you have it. So, all right, Sean. Well, I don't know what else you have, anything like that. We're probably going to move on and talk a little bit about the Ken Wheeler. I don't know if you saw the Ken Wheeler interview or if there's anything else you want to cover on it. You're certainly welcome.
I did see you guys with Ken. That was great. It was a
Did
great
you?
show.
Yeah, that was very cool. I thought.
Yeah, I was glad to see. It reminded me of kind of like back when Santos was switching his, because he was teaching his teachings with the wrong model, and he understood that it fit better in what he was teaching, and then he goes, oh crap, this is the real model. We are geocentric. So maybe Ken will do the same thing. It might take more time with Ken, but you guys did a great job presenting it to him in a very professional way. And I think that he has been thinking about it every second since that interview. So good job to you guys for that.
Yeah,
but
I think so too. When he said, I've said many times that we live on a plane, it's like he's affirming it. Yeah, we live on a plane. Well, a plane is a flat earth. It's like, wow, does it get any clearer than that, folks?
Yeah. Well, hopefully he will incorporate it into his arsenal. That would be phenomenal for everyone involved to see that. But hopefully it just happens naturally because he's going to find it out one way or the other. So let's just hope it's soon here. But as far as the next level goes, just go to the nextlevel2022.com to rent or download it. You can also, if you're on my Rockfin, subscribe to my Rockfin. You can watch it on Rockfin as well. and stream it on Vimeo. You can download it right to your phone, right to your iPad, right to your computer hard drive. There's links there at the bottom underneath. Family-friendly versions are available too. So anytime you want to support a project like this, just know that it's going in good use. It's going to be getting ready for the next film and better equipment. And my goal is to just make the best film I can every year and look back at my mistakes from the previous year and learn from them and make each one is better. That's the goal. So I just want to thank you all for having me on today. I'm glad that we got a chance to talk, and I got some ideas flowing already for the third one. So got to start taking notes before I forget them. But yeah, no, I appreciate it. And even May 5th, when the free version's out, it doesn't mean you don't have to support anymore. So if you want to support, if you're waiting for May 5th to watch it for free, maybe some people go, I want to see it first, then I'll support. That's fine. That's completely fine, and that's fair too. If you like the film, feel free to support it by renting it, or I have a donate section on my website, hibbelerproductions.com/donate. I also just put Ethereum in there. A lot of people are saying, well, where's your crypto donation stuff? And I'm like, I don't know how to do any of that. So I finally looked into it, and now I have an option to donate Ethereum to me. So, but thank you all. Thank you all so much. Especially you guys.
Awesome. Well, you're very welcome, Sean. And we're happy to have you. And yeah, I think, your work speaks for itself, and, people can really get behind it. I think you're a proven asset in my mind, and that your heart is in the right place. You certainly do have a knack for it, and you do just amazing stuff. And we are very appreciative, to have you in the community, as well as many other people that really pour their heart and soul into this. It is truly amazing. So, yeah, I will. If there's ever any updates or anything you want to get out in general to people, you're certainly more than welcome back on the show to keep people updated. And
thank you.
Just let me know, and you're in, man.
Yeah, man. I mean, we're all just trying to figure this flat Earth thing out, right? We all know the facts and the basics of it all, and we can all verify all those things. But we're also speculating on what else there could be, and is there more to this than we first initially imagined? So we're all just need to focus on the facts, but let's not veer away from the speculations too quickly here because of the haters. I want to get more in detail with what's going on past Antarctica. To me, that solves everything. That shuts up every globe head that's been indoctrinated. And that shuts up any flat earther that thinks that there's a glass touching the ground somewhere and you can write your name on it with your hand. We don't know these things. There's no reason to be argumentative about the speculations. Let's work on.
Oops, you just dropped. That is so weird that does that. What a bizarre problem.
Again?
It's so. I mean, you'll be talking, and it's almost like it knows you're about to come to the end of your sentence, and it just gets quieter and quieter and quieter, and then it just mutes out.
That's so weird. You know what? And I was before I let you go, I was just on a podcast a couple of days ago, like I told you, and they told me that was the first time in all their shows, period, in the past, that they had nothing but.
And there you go.
And there you went. You're gone again. Wow.
I don't know.
Well, we got most of it.
That's fine. Just want to thank everybody for the love and support so far.
Okay, that sounds good. Well, we appreciate it. And like I said, Sean, if you want to hang on for the rest of the show, we're not going to be on too much longer. I do want to cover a couple other things. You're certainly welcome to stay on and offer any commentary, or if you want to drop and listen to the show offline, that's fine too. But
I'll do both, Bob. I'm going to hang on for a little bit here and listen in. I'll chime in if necessary, but I'll probably cut short before you guys are officially off. But we'll see. I'll hang on for now. You guys go ahead.
Okay, that sounds good. All right.
TheNextLevel2022.com, and you could go support what you like, or it goes away.
Yeah, absolutely.
Thanks, Austin. I appreciate it.
Yep, treat it like your life depends on it, because you know why? It does. All right. So, okay, Jeran and David, well, it has now been almost a week since the Ken Wheeler interview. Well, not quite, but whatever. And what do you think? What kind of feedback have you guys been getting on this?
I've got some
Jeran?
good feedback, but I've also heard that maybe he just was shining us on. So that he doesn't like to cause waves, and so I guess somebody said he's been making fun of it a few more times this week. I haven't really paid attention.
I look at it differently. I heard on the next stream that he did, he backpedaled a little bit, saying, "Oh, I don't believe that." And I think you see that all the time. You get people, you wake them up, and then when they talk about it amongst others, when they're getting trolled, they back off a little bit. I don't think he was trolling us at all. He was hearing what we were saying and adding to it. So my opinion is he just backed off a little bit, not to piss off everyone that's following him. And we injected him with enough of the flat Earth virus that he's never get out of the hole. It's over.
Yeah,
In my
I totally
opinion.
agree. And there's some things that he was absolutely, very adamant about, about you've seen his videos where he talks about the dielectric inertial plane, which of course is the pizza, if you will, that we are actually living on. He says, the way that this works and the way that the ether processes through it and all the things that are going on with it, it's the only area that could possibly support life. Now, this is long before he ever said anything about flat earth. And the reason I remember it so well is because I thought it was kind of comical, because I even wrote him on a comment section. I said, so you say this, Ken, but where exactly does that work on a globe earth? It doesn't, but it works perfectly on a flat earth. And and then he was very adamant about saying, well, I've told people many times that we live on a plane. Well, so you have that we live on a plane, and that the dielectric inertial plane is the one thing that will support life, and on, and all the other things that he's talked about before. But you're right. I think he doesn't like conflict. He doesn't want to be attacked or anything like that. And of course, that's a foregone conclusion. That is going to happen. And his response to that is probably going to be to kind of laugh it off and make it act like, make it sound like maybe he doesn't believe in it quite that much. But I think he does. And I think that, I was really amazed when I asked him if I could consult with him. And he said, yeah, give him my phone number and all that, or, write me, I'll give you my phone number. It's like, wow, the guy's going to let me have his phone number and let me have exclusive access to him so that I can talk about this stuff. And it's like, oh boy, now you did it. Now I'm going to really work on you, right? Because we're going to do Ken Wheeler speak, and we're going to apply it towards flat earth. So I think this is going to be freaking awesome. I really do. And I think I'll be able to tell a lot more about what his intentions are. But Ken is definitely not your normal everyday kind of guy. He's kind of an oddball. He's kind of an odd duck, but he's clearly super intelligent to the degree that it's almost ridiculous, how smart he is. And he, people like that typically have personality quirks, right? It's just the way it is. Most geniuses really do have quirks like that. So I think this will be something that I can really relate to him, because I'm a little strange myself. I think all of us are. And I'd really love to bring him into this full fold and, introduce him to a lot of the other evidence that we have. I mean, let's face it, we didn't even touch on any of the evidence really that destroys the globe. I mean, we hit a few things, but there's so much more that can be brought to this. And I think Aries' failure is going to blow him away. What do you think, David?
Absolutely. I think it's, if he looks, anyone who looks and understands is blown away. So I know he can understand. And the question is, will his ego, will his concern of pissing off his followers, will the trolling get the better half of him?
Yeah, exactly. So,
there's people don't realize that when you get trolled hard, the troll's job is to make you quit, make you back off, make you, second guess yourself. And for those that, don't know how to handle it, it's very effective. It's useless on me because I don't even see it anymore. So.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, I don't even read it. I just delete it at the first, 2 words. I'm on to them. It's either troll or somebody that's being earnest, and I delete it. I don't even read the rest of the comment or anything like that because I don't have time for that, And you get enough of that crap, from people on our own side, let alone the hired guns that are coming in and saying, oh, gee, people like you really exist. I couldn't believe it. You guys make me feel so smart because, you're all so stupid. And, they have no idea how naive and how Dunning-Kruger they actually are. And it's infuriating, but you just can't let it get to you, because like it or not, many of us have been in that situation. Now, me personally, I never had a lot of resistance to flat Earth. I went with it pretty easy. But that's only because I'd already been looking at NASA so closely already. And all the other conspiracy theories that made me understand that, there's nothing that the powers that should not be will not do to increase their stranglehold and power on over other people. And, that seems to be infinite. So anyway, it's just crazy. So I think that Ken is going to come out of this okay. And, I'm really, really excited to, discuss things with him. And as I said before, guys, if you have any specific questions that you would like me to ask him, I'd be more than happy to, or answer it myself because, we need to really do our best to make him feel welcome in this community because that's one thing that he does thrive on. You can tell that when he does his live feeds, right? He likes the attention. A lot of people do. They really, they get into that. He likes the attention and that's cool. And so, show him some love because I think he has a lot that he can share with us. For sure. So, all right. What else did I have? Let's see. So today, by the way, guys, is May Day, right? Do you know what May Day actually is? Ooh, crickets. No. Nobody knows. May Day is theoretically the first day of summer. Isn't that interesting? Or that's what they called it. So they say May Day is a public holiday in some regions, usually celebrated on 1 May or the first Monday of May. It is an ancient festival marking the first day of summer. Isn't it interesting how that got so far knocked off, And I'm sure there's all kinds of other ritualistic stuff to it, but I was just thinking, wow, May Day, today's the first, that's May Day. What does that actually mean? And how do they look at it in the occult?
We had like 1 month of spring then.
Yeah, supposedly. But this is like old calendar stuff. This I think is before they started really screwing up the calendars, right? Because obviously spring should be when everything starts returning to life, right? That's when spring should be, and the seasons are all way off, right? Completely. And
well, but sorry, Bob.
Go ahead.
No, I'm gonna say that this is an Eurocentric point of view, of course, because here May is is very winter, and we are invited by the European culture and all over the place, especially in the science, in the education, in the astrological way of see the cosmos. So remember that, for example, here the 1st of May is also the day of the worker, but at the same time it's the day of the slave, because the work, the word work or worker came from Latin. It's called tripilium, or I don't know how to pronounce in English, but it's a reference when the slave receive the punish from the boss, for the owner, for the master, with sticks, in the back and things like that. So it has, for me at least, it has multiple meanings. Even the 1st of May of 1776 was the day where the Illuminati order was created. So it has a lot of symbology behind this, at least this 1st of May.
Yeah, it absolutely does. But, I wasn't exactly sure which one of them was, mostly related to, but I was surprised that it was looked at as the first day of summer. I was like, okay. Had no idea. But
no, well, that's yeah.
But But it's interesting because we've been, Zach's got our gardens going, and we've got gardens all over our lawn. In fact, our entire backyard we've turned into one great big huge garden, and it's awesome. It really is, and it's so cool to watch this stuff grow and to, just watch it happen and everything. And I think it's necessary because if they're going to keep screwing with us as far as food shortages, it's obviously a really good idea to, get in there and have an alternate food source and not depend on your local Piggly Wiggly down the street or whatever you have. And that's also another thing that I think is really great about South Carolina is so many of the grocery stores actually take their produce and their chickens and stuff like that from local farms. And there's a lot of them. Everybody does that down here. It seems to be kind of like a way of life, which is really cool. And that was one of the other things that I thought was amazing about this part of the world. So hopefully you'll keep that in mind when you're looking down here, or looking elsewhere to move, Jeran. I know you're looking at Mexico, thinking about it. And, I know a lot of people are moving down here. So many people are coming specifically to South Carolina because they're seeing a lot of the same things that we are. And it just seems like, this is the place where we will really have some decent advantage, or at least maybe it won't turn to crap as fast as the rest of the country is. I don't know. But anyway, boy, did I get sidetracked there. So, all right. Let's see. Let's move on. Of course, you guys saw the footage that I was showing earlier from Chris Van Maitre. Another thing that I think would be really interesting to have Ken comment on is this video that was put out by Flat Earth Banjo USA, Japan, and Brazil too, which he says Nikon's confirmation places stars within 100 miles. And Nikon made a comment about this that was really interesting. Now, Dave, I'm pretty sure you've seen this, but Jeran, have you seen this video yet?
I have not.
Okay. So this is something that I think is really interesting, and Nikon confirming that, that the moon is obviously well inside of this camera's zoom cage, not necessarily to infinite. And so, yeah, I thought it was amazing. So I'm going to play it for you guys and see what you guys think they're saying about this. And then we will make comments on it. And I'm also going to run and take a break real quick. So if I don't get back in time, I should. This is a 5-minute video. I should be back in a minute or two. But we will go from there. So here we go.
Hope you're all having a good day. Today's video, I want to send a big shout out to one of my subscribers in Switzerland, Christopher. He sent me a very interesting tweet. So he's got Nikon's confirmation that the P1000, P900 cameras zoom is within 160 kilometers, about 100 miles. So I want to start again with this quote. What are the stars? They are bits of fire a few kilometers away. We could reach them if we wanted to, or we could blot them out. The Earth is the center of the universe. The sun and the stars go round it. George Orwell, 1984. So we all know the camera Nikon P900 and P1000. I do have a P900. I don't want to buy a P1000 since I haven't taken much time to photograph the stars anymore as I used to. But we all know that this is an amazing camera. You can zoom in on stars and on the moon and in many objects in the sky. Christopher sent them a Twitter asking them to confirm or not the zoom capacity of the Nikon cameras. So since he lives in Switzerland, he wrote in French to Nikon Zurich, and he's got the answer. Now the tweet is in French. I can't read French, but on the side he has the translation more or less in English. He sent to me, stars are maximum 160 kilometers away. That's via Nikon. Moon, sun, planets, and stars are small and local. no more than 100 kilometers away from the Earth potential of a Nikon camera. They are orbiting around a flat and stationary Earth. This is a really astounding confirmation. We all knew that. And if we can zoom in on a star, any of them, with such precision like many of us have done, I myself have zoomed on a star here in Japan. And if we are able to do it, it's because they are not millions of miles away.
Now that's unbelievable, right? It's like, so the Nikon apparently has this zoom that before you hit the infinity mark, it encompasses everything within 160 kilometers. And if the moon is behind the firmament, and is somewhere in the neighborhood between 100 and 150 kilometers, and if the firmament is at 100 kilometers, it would be at 62 miles. And then, of course, you have the sun and the moon that are inside of that firmament. Isn't that interesting that the way that they actually verify this? And I wonder how much crap this guy's going to get into for even saying this. But I've wondered about that so many times. It's like, so these cameras have obviously a very fixed, specific focal point where, you know, if you know the exact distance to something, you could pretty much put the focus on it and it should be perfectly in focus. And, you know, so apparently Nikon is saying that the zoom cameras are set up to be at about 160 kilometers. And Dave, have you seen this one before yet? Oh, David.
I was muted.
Sorry.
Have I seen this video?
Yeah.
You obviously have not been following the featured video of the day, Bob. It was several weeks ago.
Probably where I saw it initially. I don't know.
Yeah.
I've had it in my storage saying I don't remember where I get all this stuff. I mean, I'm like you guys. I'm all over the place.
There's too much. There's so many videos that I want to watch that I just don't have time to watch. I just wonder what I'm missing out there. So yeah, I did see it. Eddie and I talk a lot. I like him.
Yeah, I do too. I think he's awesome. And by the way, Martin, thank you for joining us. He had to bow out. I thought he was going to hang with us a little bit longer, but he had to go head off to his hotel. So Martin, thank you for joining us. If you're out there still listening, much appreciated. And, you know, I'm really looking forward to, you know, the stuff that you have coming up, brother, because I think that's going to be amazing. I'm very, very interested in the subject. I think antiquitech is a very real thing, and you're just the guy to bring it to us. So I'm totally up for it. So, okay, so let's get back to the video here, but he's pretty much said exactly, you know, what the point is, but I just think this is amazing. So let's hear out the rest of it.
You see here the star actors, and it's focused, but we cropped the image so you could see better. Comparing to NASA CGI Archers, which is hundreds of times bigger than the sun, which is product of imagination. Now, we lost that amazing technology that built those telescopes back in Galileo's time. We lost that technology. We cannot build it back. We can only build cameras like the Nikon P1000, 125 times the zoom capacity. But we cannot, we lost the technology. We cannot build telescopes like Galileo's. So that's the instrument he used to say that Earth was a ball and now the luminaries are balls. But we know telescopes are made to give this impression. The kind of lenses they use, the concave, the convex lenses, they all shape the object they look at in the sky spherical to deceive humanity. But we lost the technology. We cannot build those telescopes anymore.
The problem is we don't have the technology to do that anymore. We used to, but we destroyed that technology, and it's a painful process to build it back again.
You know, it's, I don't know about you guys, but it always has sounded to me that he is saying we lost that technology, and it's a papal process to get it back again, meaning that the Pope has to intervene somehow to get that back. Do you think that might be what he's saying?
Jump back 10 seconds.
I think he has Down syndrome.
Yeah,
that's a fact.
All right, let me jump back here.
The problem is we don't have the technology to do that anymore. We used to, but we destroyed that technology, and it's a painful process to build it back again.
Thanks to
What do you think?
A paper process. Or painful
Papal,
process.
as in an act of the Pope, right?
Well, I like to see in the way that all the bureaucracy supposedly to all the blueprints and all the stuff to build back again. I don't. For me, it's more like poetry came out of his mouth. But no, I don't think he's referring the Pope. In my opinion, I said here in Argentina it's a very common expression, saying no, this is too much paperwork to do this or do that, etc.
Yeah, I get it, and it's probably neither here nor there. I mean, I've just always heard him saying it's a papal process, not a painful process. And if he did say papal as in an act of the Pope, that's kind of interesting that he would use that choice of words, don't you think? So anyway, all right. So please explain the significance of the Nikon 100-mile thing. Well, the significance is that you have a focus area that you can focus either macro, or micro, up close or far away. And that range is something that you can change the focus on manually. And apparently the range to which you can change that focal point goes out to is 160 miles. And it's interesting that the sun or the moon, when you focus on it, doesn't necessarily have to be an infinite focus, but it comes back into the somewhere within the 160-mile range. So I just thought that was really interesting. And, Ken Wheeler would be a really good person to explain that. So that's the answer to that question real quick. And let's hear it out the rest of the way.
Nikon P1000, P900, we can see much better, and we can prove stars are not light years away. They are small and close, few kilometers away, as they quote in 1984 by George Orwell. Thanks, guys. That's all for today. Hope you all have a good week. Bye-bye.
All right. So there you have it. So I just thought that was interesting.
It is. I'm not, I'm technical with cameras, but I'm 25 miles from Lower Manhattan, and on a super clear day, the buildings they're right there. Besides the whole curvature issue. When I zoom in with my P900, my P1000, I can see pretty well. I can see, some details. But when I zoom in on the moon, I can get far more details. And I guess I have to zoom in on one and focus and then move to the other without changing the focus. But it feels like the moon is closer than Manhattan.
Yeah.
That's what it feels like.
It
Sounds
really
crazy,
does.
but yeah.
It totally really does. And, and I also made a comment about this, several years ago, that I think, and believe me, guys, I get that, a lot of people are saying, well, it's out of focus. It's causing this ballooning or blossoming type of effect, right? I get that, right? There's no doubt about it. In fact, Chris Van Maitre was able to get a blossoming effect off of a candle. And it was interesting. But the difference between the candle and the ones that we see in the stars and the planets is that they weren't the same. They just weren't the same. The one we see when, like Arcturus, you look at that, or you look at, some of the other stars, and they have a very distinct, very crisp, not out of focus, not blossomed type of appearance. Go ahead.
Arcturus and Capella are two completely different that it appears we're getting them in fairly good focus. And I think it's Capella you can see with your naked eye. When I was in Mexico, I was looking at it. I could see, it was small, but I could see the colors and the flashing. And when I zoomed in on it, it's incredible. So, yes, we agree some of them out of focus. But if you listen to Crow's analysis of the benefits of seeing something out of focus, there you are getting information. So that's my opinion on that.
Absolutely. I honestly do believe this too. I think that in many ways, it is the digital processing capabilities or attributes of the camera that are allowing us to see those lights broken down into, kind of like specific cymatic patterns. We're actually catching it in certain samples, right? And that's the difference between digital and analog. I talked about that a little bit, I don't know, with Ken or somebody, where I was saying that, digital, when you do something digitally, you sample bits of it, right? Whereas if you're looking or listening to something in an analog format, you hear the full spectrum and everything in between it. And I just think that, with these cameras, since they're digital cameras and they process by sampling, that they are actually giving us things that we would normally never be able to see through an analog type of setup, like through my telescope, right? I can't see things like that through my telescope, not even close. Would I ever be able to see that? Of course, it's an analog representation. And I think in that particular case that the cameras may very well be giving us an advantage for better resolution as far as what's happening in that star or whatever we're looking at. And some of it may just be inconsequential. But what the other thing I thought was interesting is that it seems that if Dave, you and I were to take, and I was actually looking at some of these where people would take different pictures of like Capella or Sirius or something like that, that pattern would be very similar on two different cameras taken from all the way across the country, right? And I just thought that was kind of interesting too. So I think that the digital cameras are showing something that we wouldn't normally see. And I think that, the Globers were all too happy to jump in and say, you guys are idiots. They're just ballooning. It's out of focus and there's nothing more to it. And while I agree that a lot of them are out of focus, I think there's a little bit more to it than that.
100%. I agree.
Yep.
Dave, did you see the guy on Twitter going off saying that you were lying about the auroras on Jupiter?
I saw your rant on it. I didn't see the guy on Twitter. I don't.
Oh yeah, no, you saw my rant though.
Yeah, I mean, it's so stupid. The aurora on. I mean, what is he saying? That I lied that they never said there was an aurora on Twitter? I mean, on Jupiter?
Yeah. And so I told him, go look, you'll find it. And he said, I looked everywhere. I can't find it. All you have to do is go to the Wayback Machine and see that they lied about it. And we're the ones who called it out. And then they had fixed it. But these guys see the fixing and they think that that's proof that we're wrong. Right? Because then they see that and they go, no, if you go there now, it says that it's a composite image. It's like, yeah, now it does. Go back and look.
Yeah, but even you pointed out, like, why composite it? If you took a picture of it, show us the picture.
Why would that be acceptable?
Yeah.
For them to say, yeah, well, we took the aurora off of Jupiter and put it on an old picture of Jupiter. Why?
That guy can't be real. He's a troll, right?
No, they're real. That's really what happens when you become a cuck for science and it's your religion, is that you will go to bat no matter what, whatever it takes. Whatever it takes.
Yeah, amazing.
It's so true. How many times have we seen that happen? I mean, I was listening to Globebusters 24/7 this morning, and that clip came on where I was talking about Charles Flat Earth Math, right? And he was commenting about Soundly's, totally warped out bridge picture, right? At Pontchartrain. And he had been saying all of that time before, there is no way you would ever be able to see the curvature from the ground. Too big, let alone any level going up to 20 or 30 miles, right? I mean, he was adamant about that over and over and over again. But as soon as Soundly gets on and says, yeah, here it is, proof positive that Pontchartrain Bridge is curving, then all of a sudden Charles changes his tune. Why? Because he has to. They have to support each other in their stupid narrative, and they can't not do that.
So amazing.
It's unbelievable, man.
So amazing.
Yeah, and I just, I really hope other people can see that, type of crap, because it's just unbelievable that, we see it so plainly and other people are so unbelievably blind to it, and it's really frustrating. So anyway. All right, so, and I don't know if I covered this or not, but I just wanted to make note, on one of Jay Tolan's more recent videos that came out on the 10th, titled "How I Measured the Distance to the Celestial Dome." I love it. He shows down here, and he did a kind of a modified type of triangulation, not the Pythagorean one, but with his basically stereoscoping 2 cameras, and then I forgot the technique that he applied to it. But so he came out with the dome being at 3943, right? Which is essentially the radius of the Earth. Why does this keep coming up? Why does this number keep coming up? Why does it come up, so consistently when you do single triangulations, Pythagorean triangulations of the moon or the sun? The sun appears to be a little bit further away in the 3900 zone. Jay Tolan's saying he's coming up with a 3949. The moon appears to be about 3500, et cetera, et cetera. Now, granted, I agree that they're never going to agree perfectly. And the more that you try and add into that triangulation, the less accurate it's going to make it, because then you absolutely are dealing with more levels of refraction from one point of the Earth than other points of refraction. But isn't it interesting?
Well, apparent too, right? I mean,
it's apparent.
Yeah.
But these numbers keep coming around into our face. And the other thing that's super interesting about this is if you take and you go to that ring bell or whatever, and you just type in distance to the horizon calculator, and you type in 3949 miles, right? Or whatever, basically what that does is it gives you a distance to the horizon of 12,225 miles. And of course, going 2 different directions, that would cover essentially half the diameter of the Earth, right? So that also would be the height required for a light source to be able to light up that much of the Earth that we actually see, right? That's not a coincidence, guys. So that's why I say there's really got to be something more to this. These numbers keep coming up. Granted, I know they're not accurate, and when you try and add more and more triangulation points to it, it makes it more inaccurate. But when you keep things very simple, right? Like Red's rhetoric and his stupid triangulation of the moon, and I've shown that a million times, where he comes up and says, yeah, it's 232,000 miles from his front door to the moon. They're perfectly willing to accept that as a triangulation to the moon, but not the sun, not the firmament, not anything like that. And flat earthers, we're even getting these numbers back. So I think that, that 3959 mile, I mean, not only is it the radius of our Earth, but it's also very significant, I think, for several other reasons. So just thought that was interesting that Jay Tolan, using yet another completely different methodology, came up with that same number right back in our face over and over and over again. Crazy stuff.
Amazing.
All right. Okay, and I just have a few other things, and then we're going to call it a show, guys, because we're just about at 3 hours. So now we have another one of these spin launch things. NASA's to test spin launch, a giant slingshot for launching satellites into space. Now, who all looks at this and thinks this has got to be these?
That cannot be real.
I can't believe it either. It's stupid as hell. Can you imagine the G-force? It would crush everything on that if you were actually able to launch that, up to even 300 or 400,000 feet. Yeah, it would crush everything, and nothing would be able to withstand that G-force. That's absurd. Let alone any manned mission. They think they're going to get away with that in a manned mission.
C-force. It's C-force, not she-force, Bob.
C-force, not G-force?
Yeah, it's centrifugal force. It's nothing else to have it to do with gravity. Okay?
Yeah. So absurd. But look at this. Well, let's watch this real quick. I think this is the same video we saw before. It's just so retarded, guys. I mean,
listen to the music. It has to be real, Bob.
Yeah.
They need to use that music because, if they didn't put classical music, nobody's going to believe it.
Anybody that puts music behind their videos has to be a shill.
Yeah, no doubt. So here it is. They're going to give it the countdown. You got to have the countdown for the drama. For the drama.
But to send pigeons, message.
Now, I
What
can
was
only
that
imagine.
shooting through?
I don't know. It looks like it broke out of some sort of membrane or, like a rocket thing. And yeah, if you're going to use it to launch rockets or something like that, I can see that. But if they think that they can subject a precision scientific piece of equipment, with optics and stuff like that, that they would be, supposedly putting on spacecraft to that kind of G-force, first of all, I can't even imagine what the G-force would be, right? To launch something from ground level to, how high do they say that it is? That it pops up. I only remember the last one, and it was ridiculous back then too. But even if it only went 100,000 feet, I mean, my God, to get that mass going that fast to overcome that much inertia, something's going to break, big time. But yet, this is their next big wave, Well, we'll just throw it up there. Crazy.
Jesus.
Yep. Okay. And next up, you're still talking about luxury cabins. That's nothing new. A bunch of nonsense there. They're going to take the balloon up to an altitude of 20 miles, 30 kilometers. That's not space. Just ripping people off. Why don't you just give them a nice big balloon ride? And, why do you need to sell them at $125,000 a piece? That's absurd. So what else did we have? Oh, why is the Earth not round? Oh, okay. So this one's going back, and it's covering something we've covered before, about why they call the Earth an oblate spheroid, right? And they say that because of the centrifugal force that would cause the center to necessarily bulge out something like 28 miles, right? And I was listening to one of the ballers, on one of their shows last week, and they're saying, "Oh no, well that didn't, that doesn't mean the oceans. That meant the rock and the Earth itself that's underneath the oceans." Well, I got news for you guys. The rock underneath the oceans does not take that form either. Nor does it take any sort of spherical type of configuration. So, them telling us that it's natural for everything to condense into these small balls of matter and go into these perfect little spheres, and then say, well, okay, no, it doesn't really show up in the water, which of course would be the first place it would show up, right? Because water is much more malleable than land and hard rocks and granite and all that stuff. So again, they're just reiterating something that is a complete lie. They still show the Earth as a perfect sphere. If I were to put a compass on this, I guarantee you it would draw out as an absolute perfect sphere. And it's just amazing that they still push this and yet tell us that it's everything other than what they say that it is. Incredible. So, and then there's Eric Dollard one. What else?
Bob, I have a question I want to ask about my gyroscope idea.
Okay.
I put it in the Globebusters chat, but I don't know if anyone paid attention. A gyroscope works on a vertical axis, right? If you spin a gyro up and orient it east and west, will it maintain that east and west setting? If I spun around, if I took it for a ride in a car, would it maintain an east-west orientation?
Absolutely.
Okay, so you get two electric-powered gyros. You get an airplane on the equator. You have one that's level for the plane that you normal fire up, and the other one, you orient it east and west. The plane takes off. It doesn't use a compass or GPS, and it follows that straight heading. So you basically, make sure that you're going in the direction of the gyro. And as we know, quickly east will spin off to the right, or spin off to the left, depending on which way. Yeah, spin off to the left, because we're not on a globe. Wouldn't that be a pretty damn good test? Okay, you're going straight. You're not following the compass. You're not using GPS. You're just using the vertical spinning gyro.
Yeah, you're
to
dead
maintain
reckoning on the gyro.
Dead reckoning on the gyro. And if you're on the equator, that should maintain a 90 or 270 heading, period. And you should go all the way around the globe. But as you know, like I'm talking a very short time, within minutes, you're going to see it veering off.
You're right.
You don't even have to go around the world.
You're right. And obviously, the faster the jet, the better for that. But you're absolutely 100% right. And if you had a 2-axis gyro, then you should only see a change on the elevation up and down for the one on the equator, but not on the yaw rate. You won't see it go to the left or the right on the yaw. Okay.
Right.
So you basically have the yaw and the pitch and the roll. Okay. So you're right. 100%. That's actually a really good test.
It wasn't my original idea. Somebody put in a comment, and I've been thinking about it. So I don't know how you can argue against it. Get 50 gyros, get them all going, and that way, I think, gyros work for airplanes, and it has to work.
You're right. That's actually
it
a
has
great
to
one.
work.
You know who we need to get a hold of is the guy, I think his name is Josh Silva, the one with the flight school.
Right. And think about this. The cost of this is
cheap,
extremely cheap. We just need to find somebody that's down near the equator that can, make a flight plan to go, I don't know, 100 miles, a couple hundred miles along the equator. Doesn't matter if you're over land or water, and film the whole thing.
Oh, you know what? That's amazing, because if the globe is accurate, you only need one flight, right? Take off going east or west on the equator, and it had better stick to exactly what's shown on the map, and not turn, because if it does turn, that means that equator is going around in a circle.
Right. And then you could do it again south of the equator, and if it still bears off to the north, if the east or west bears off to the north, that is another rock solid proof, because it should bear off to the left.
Oh, dude,
it should bear off to the south.
I can't believe I didn't see that. That's an amazing test. And that's something where we could actually crowdfund. We could just charter a plane. You don't have to go more than a few hundred miles. And there is no way that gyro is not going to turn, right? And
the fact that when you do it south of the equator, that it's still going to correct to the north. East and west are going to veer off to the north off the gyro. That's, to me, that I don't see how you can deny that.
You can't. That's an outstanding test. Wow. Okay.
Jeran?
I like it. I think it works. I heard somebody recently talking about aiming at a star. Did you hear that one?
No, tell me.
Who was saying it the other day? If you take off from a plane in the north, let's say at the North Pole, just for example, and you find a star and you head directly towards that star, and you just keep that heading, you have to go straight towards the star. Wouldn't the Earth have to race out from underneath you faster and faster as you're going towards it? If you start in Alaska, it would be going 400 miles per hour underneath you.
But I may not be smart enough to understand. Well, isn't the star moving? Wouldn't you have to veer off to maintain a heading on a star?
No, the star should be stationary.
Why? Oh, because you're heading. No, the stars are spinning. Oh, on a globe Earth, it should be stationary.
Correct.
Yeah.
So if it doesn't go racing underneath you, it's because you're following a turning star.
Well, it's similar with the Sao Paulo Zurich flight that I did the video. It's trying to show that. Because if you analyze, for example, the ISS video footage from outer space going very, very fast, the star is coming from the, ground to your head, rotating. Supposedly the spaceship is rotating around the Earth, right? And the stars are fixed, and you going heading the stars, and it's coming from the down from the horizon to your view. That is what you are saying, Jeran, or I miss something?
Yeah, because it seems to me that if you're heading towards a star, then you're still going to be subject to refraction, right? Kind of like if you take off and you start flying towards the sun, and you get 3 miles closer to the sun, then the sun just kind of backs off 3 miles, right? Because it's apparent.
Right.
But
I think we need to figure out a way to get this gyro one done.
But the gyro one, that's outstanding, man. That's a great idea.
Yeah.
Unreal.
And so now if we did it in the north, it proves nothing, because it would actually have the same result somewhat on a ball or a flat earth in the north. Because when you dead reckon, gyro dead reckon, north will, east or west will veer off to the north on a flat earth and a globe earth. It's only on the equator will it not veer off on a globe, and in the south on the globe it would veer off in the opposite direction. But we all know on the equator and south it's going to veer off to the right every single time.
Absolutely. Yep, that's fabulous. That is really, really good. And that should be cheap and easy to finance, to set up. And yeah, wow, man,
right.
that is going to be a death blow right there. I'm just trying to figure out what excuse they possibly could use. Oh, your pilot wasn't really doing that. Whatever, right?
Yeah.
But man, that is God. How in the hell did we not think of that before? Well, you obviously did.
Well, somebody mentioned it. Listen. I get this is all a group thing. Somebody, I don't know who they are. I'm sorry if I don't remember your name if you're in the chat. Somebody asked about this idea, and I saw it in the chat. Nobody said anything. I think I went back and forth with the person a couple times, and then I kind of just been thinking about it. So there it is. Someone came up with it, and let's figure out how to get it done.
Hell yeah. Yeah.
Who lives down on the equator that has an airplane? Give us a call.
We could probably get it done for $1,000 or maybe less. Maybe, under $2,000 for sure, because we don't have to go very far, and it will, I'll do the math, and we'll figure out just exactly, how far we have to go before we start, before it comes obvious as hell that we are turning upwards, right, in that aircraft. And the pilot doesn't even have to realize it. All you have to do is just tell the pilot that you maintain this heading, right, to stay over the equator.
So we need an electric powered gyro to mount on the dashboard for the pilot and say, keep this heading at 0 on the gyro. 0 would be east or west.
Yeah. Yeah. Wow. Yeah. I'll definitely work on that. That should be really simple. That's a good one, David. You just saved the whole show. There you go. Awesome. All right, guys. Well, anyway, it is that time, 6 o'clock once again. So I'm going to go ahead and close down everything. I didn't have a whole lot more anyway, but other than some completely stupid headlines
about the fact that
I cannot believe that they just keep getting dumber and dumber and dumber. Why is a day on Venus longer than a year? The atmosphere may be to blame. You know what they say? Venus's stormy atmosphere acts like a brake on its rotation. It's like, come on.
Oh, God. But ours doesn't. Ours just goes along with it.
No, ours just goes right along with it. Yeah, but because Venus...
ours is slowing us down by a quarter of a fraction of a second, over the last 100 years, I think.
They can also bounce lasers off the moon, and they get within 3 centimeters the distance.
And our atmosphere can also stop harmful X-rays from coming in and killing us, but we can transmit a voice signal from the moon, and that has no problem getting a radio signal through.
Plus, from Earth, we can see the cloud molecules from Venus they couldn't possibly be any of the gases in the Earth's atmosphere.
Right.
We just look right through that.
Spectroscopy. Yeah.
Yeah, it's really easy, actually. Anybody can do it. Just go do it. I mean, it's been tested a million times.
Yeah. Yeah. Oh, and then this one, of course, is another amazing one. An experiment that can confirm the fifth state of matter in the universe and change physics as we know it. Get this. An experiment has been designed that could confirm the fifth state of matter in the universe and change physics as we know it. If proven correct, it would show that information is the fifth form of matter. What?
Yeah, the fifth power, the press, the media, the information.
Yeah, information is the fifth form of matter. I have no words for that.
How dense is that matter?
Yeah, right? Well, it's one of those massless things that, you know, that bounces off the other massless particles, but it gives us a mass, you know.
It's supposedly a state of the matter, right? Because if not, what are the first, the second, and the third, and the fourth before the fifth?
Yeah. Wow. Just utter stupidity. Absolutely.
Going back to the gyro for a second, on the one that keeps the plane level, the Globers say that it just corrects by gravity, and that's how we don't fly off into space. Is that their excuse? Or there's a device that you know, in that black box that no one's allowed to look into that corrects the horizontal gyro. What would their excuse be for a vertical gyro? There's nothing to correct. There's no gravity change, right? Even if you were curving down to maintain altitude to keep the horizontal one, there's nothing to correct the east-west oriented vertical one.
Yeah, well, and which, you know, honestly, it doesn't matter. All you need to do is disprove one of the axes. And that's a big one. So, you know, if they think that they are actually going to get away with going straight, you know, dead reckoning east to west and think that their instruments are going to still show them on the equator, I don't think so. And that's going to be a big problem for the globe.
And you know what? Thinking about it, we don't even have to do it on the equator. It's the equator or south of the equator. Because on the equator, it should maintain straight, but we know it's going to veer off to the right. And anywhere south of the equator, the farther south we go, it should veer off harder and harder to the south. But we all know it's going to veer off to the north. Doesn't matter where we go, equator or south, doesn't have to be exactly on. If it veers to the north, we know we're on a flat Earth.
Yeah. Yep.
So now we have half of the world to test it anywhere. Any airplane south of the equator or on the equator that can do this can easily prove that it's not a globe.
Yeah. Man, that's amazing. That's a really good one. Yep. Well, there it is. So we were looking for an undebunkable experiment. I think that one's it. That absolutely is. So we'll have to see what we can do to make that actually happen. And yeah, it's going to be a charter flight, but this seems so much simpler because you're either going to turn or you're not going to turn. And the gyro isn't going to lie. And they're not going to be able to say that the gyro isn't sensitive enough to register it, because then all you have to do is move a couple of degrees up the latitude or down the latitude line, where we know that then it would correspond with having to turn in the flat Earth model as well. And it does. They're screwed. It's over. It's over.
Yeah.
That's outstanding. God, I love it. All right, cool. All right, guys. Well, let's close it down. It's been a good show. I'm glad we got to talk to Sean, and guys, he could really use your help. I think I will start a GoFundMe to kind of help him out on that with a computer. I'll certainly donate to it, and hopefully we can get some people to donate to it, because he is definitely doing this for all the right reasons. And he's investing hundreds, if not thousands of hours of his own time into this. And, he's definitely one of the best movie makers that we have in the community, without a doubt. And whatever we can do to make his job a little bit easier, will certainly help him. And even if we don't get it entirely financed, but we are able to at least get him a really nice video card, that's the first step. So it would be like video card first, RAM next, and then maybe possibly solid state type drives after that. But, you know, we'll see what he's got to work with, and I'll see what I can do with him on that. So, all right, guys, so let's go around one last time for anything you might have. Austin, what do you got coming up, sir?
Just driving all the way up to Maryland. We might pop out and do a couple little cities, talk to some people in a couple cities while we're heading up. Yeah, just finishing up all the court stuff and then heading up, getting this done, and then we'll go from there. I've been wanting to start back streaming for a while. I just have been going a million miles an hour. It feels like forever, but yeah, we're about getting to where I think we should be good. So hopefully we'll have some content soon, or maybe a couple videos out on the streets in the next week.
Cool.
Awesome. Okay, cool. And Ira, what about you, sir?
Well, we are very happy to, well, not to announce because this is for Spanish community, but I think it's nice for all the community of the Flat Earth. We are doing it, we are going to do the 5th conference of Flat Earth. This time it's going to be here in Argentina. We rent the theater. We sold out all the tickets, awesome. 300 people. And yeah, and we are going to talk not just about the Flat Earth, because I think all the people that follow us, that are already known about the Flat Earth. So we are trying to bring the more information about the 4th Industrial Revolution and how that is going to impact our freedom of choice and our freedom in terms of the spirit, if you want to see it that way. And of course, it's for us is the best system for control. The spirit and the freedom was the heliocentric model, but that model was, keep growing and getting more and more advanced in terms of manipulation. And the 4th Industrial Revolution is going to bring like a new universe, not just trying to, mix through with lies about the universe, quote unquote, that we can experience, but they are trying to create a parallel universe to keep controlling people and minds and souls and spirits. So the conference is going to be more oriented in that way, but it's really nice to see that the like I mentioned at the beginning of the show, the movement is growing. There is more and more new people coming in, and that's very nice to to see in our daily basis. And going to a theater and make a conference, bring this opportunity to know one each other in real life, and doing real things, not just through internet. And we are almost 25 days ahead. No, ahead, sorry. In 25 days, it's going to be the conference, and we sold out all the tickets, things like that. So we are not having any more the pressure of the money and things like that. So it's going to be nice.
That's awesome, Ira. That is so cool. Okay, well, good luck with that. I'm sure it's going to be a huge success. And, maybe it'll take off, going down there, because there's a lot of Spanish speaking community all over the world. And, you're definitely a well-known figure in it. So I can only imagine it's going to go really super good for you. So awesome.
Thank you. Thank you.
Excuse me. Wow. It swallowed down the wrong side. So, David, I'm not sure what Mill 9999 is trying to say when he's saying, do you understand humans control gyroscopes? No, I don't understand that. I understand you can spin them up and let them run, and they tell the story. You don't have to control them or provide any influence.
It may be saying it's not a natural phenomena. From coming from that camp, it's a good experiment. Let's see what happens. I think we should try to get it done, and maybe talk to some gyro experts. Not that we don't have some in our group. So
yeah, we definitely do. We definitely do.
Yeah.
And there are things that you have to be very careful of.
Yeah.
You know, for example, what's his name ran into with his big gyroscope, where there was basically the friction got to a point where it was causing a torque, and it was causing it to torque in the opposite direction. And, you know, that caused all kinds of hoopla, which I'm not even going to go over that again. But yeah, it's crazy. So yeah, I just think that, yeah, we'll talk to other people. Absolutely. And we can also do it with accelerometer based gyros as well. Should tell us
Absolutely.
pretty
That's what I
much
was
the
saying.
same thing.
You get like as many different types of brands and types of gyros as possible. Interesting.
Yep, for sure. All right, beautiful. Okay, so let's swing it around to you, David. What do you got coming up this week, sir?
Few more interviews as always. Baby Truther Show with Sean's going to be. We're going to be drilling Sean to see what his beliefs are beyond more lands. Making changes on the app constantly. I just added new government documents. Somebody suggested in the more resources web button page. So people are always looking for the documents that say a flat, non-rotating Earth. So I'm compiling videos on that. I've added a moon landing video. Someone suggested that. New books. Don't forget Flat Earth Man's books. He's coming out with a second one soon. And the homeschool section, still looking for more content there. I only have 4 categories so far. I hope to have 10, 20, 30 or more. And a lot of people aren't aware of the referral code. If you hit your friend finder on the upper left, you'll see a big blue dot, or probably a blue dot depending on your status. Hit that, and you have a referral code. So when you tell someone to get the app, they can fill out the code, and it'll kind of just keep track of how many people you've woken up to flat Earth. Kind of fun. And we just hit 56,000, almost 57,000 people on the friend finder. So I see momentum moving forward. I'm very excited, and let's keep it going. Whatever it takes, whatever your best tool for waking people up, app, the movie, a playlist, meeting people, whatever it is, go out and do it. There's no more time.
Yep, absolutely true. Very good. All right, David, fabulous. I want to shout out to the people that have donated in the Rockfin chat. Of course, as you know, YouTube demonetized our YouTube account, at least for another couple of weeks. So we can't get any super chats or anything like that, but we certainly appreciate the people that have given us tips on Rockfin. That's always appreciated, helps immensely. And as always, we have the same old players that have been so helpful and so wonderful in their support. Julie Bennett, always in there for us, and you are so appreciated, girl. You're awesome. You're just you're really a godsend to all of us, and your involvement in this community is incredible. So love it. Murray Cole says, I enjoy listening to you each week. I'm not always available to listen live, but we'll listen later. Yeah, that's true. And, we understand that's why we have them available, so you can listen to them at any time. And that's always nice, but we're glad that we can make it so that you are able to hear our message and what we have to say. And it's just awesome. Next up, we have James Ritchie, who gives us a very generous tip. Thank you so much for that, James. You are awesome. Much, much appreciated. Followed by Don't Follow Crumb. Hey, Crumb. He says, Flat Earth is the best and strongest repellent of brainwashing and indoctrination. I like to call it indoctricide. I like that. Very, very good. Okay. KP says, I can probably help you out with the computer hardware. Awesome, KP. We'll take what we can get, even if we have to piece it together. I'll provide the labor. I'll certainly provide some of the money. And, I do it out of labor of love. And I really want to see Sean be able to do this. And, same thing with Jeran. I built his first system, and he got many years of good service out of that computer. And I'm glad it really worked out well for him. So it was awesome. Next up, we have Barb R.
It's still used every day.
Yeah, it's still functioning, isn't it?
Yeah, it's still on my other desk that I use for everything that's not streaming.
Yep, there you go. The gift that keeps on giving. Awesome. All right, Barb R says, thank you, Globebusters. Thank you so much for your tip, Barb. Much appreciated. Robert Zafaris, as always, one of our great supporters, always there every week. Love you, buddy. You are incredible, and thank you so much. Next up, Glenn Engelhorn says, anyone who says they still have to go to work tomorrow, whether the earth is flat or not, is not worth a damn, because anyone who thinks like that is an elite wannabe. Well, you know, at some point, you're definitely right about that, because if we get enough people thinking along this paradigm, then we're going to change the world, and hopefully part of that change will be the release out of so many people out of enslavement, you know, just to put food in their mouth or shelter over their head, which, you know, should be a basic human right. And, you know, they have taken that away from us as well. It's pretty horrific. So thank you for that, Glenn Engelhorn. Much appreciated. And that does it for the Rockvin tips. So, all right. So, Jeran, last but not least, over to you. What do you got coming up, sir?
Same old thing. So just keep an eye on my channel, and we have Hibbeler on Thursday for the Baby Truther show. Oops. And back to the Journalism Friday show. And I think I have something else this week, and I don't remember what it is. But oh yeah, I'm going to do the Journalism Does stuff this week. So excited about that.
By the way, that's awesome, Jeran, that you do that. You know, and you know, when Dave was talking earlier about, you know, what he was saying about you, I said exactly the same thing to Cami. I've said it about him. I look at his attitude and his sincerity. It really makes everything he touches seem to turn to gold. I mean, it really does. He keeps a positive attitude. He surrounds himself with that energy. I've definitely seen you take that on, and you know, you have hit this so hard. You have increased your content massively, and you're doing such amazing things, you know, showing that you truly do care, you know, about giving back to the community and stuff like that. And again, what can I say? It's really inspirational, Jeran. It's a beautiful thing, man. What can I say?
Thanks. No, it's all the community. I mean, I couldn't do it without their help and without their donations, and just trying to give back and see if we can make the world a better place.
Yep. Well, you're certainly doing your part, and I hope to be able to start upping my game as well. So working on it, and we'll see what happens, especially over this year. This is going to be a very interesting year, I think, for all of us. So we'll see how it goes. So that's it, guys. We're going to call it a show, and we will see you on Wednesday for the Globebusters Tech Show, and you know, see what we have for Mr. Ken Wheeler, and see where we can take that little journey. So until then, be good to each other. Don't lie to each other. Open your mind, because there's truth inside. Peace out, everybody.
Peace.